Chapter 552. What? Hearing this news, those elite students were instantly stupefied, because the news came one after another, and it didn't give them any time to catch their breath. They didn't have any time to think. This was Xiaoping's plan. If these people were given time to think, they might find something fishy. But Xiaoping was careful and released the news at once, leaving them no time to think. Xiaoping remembered that when he was still on Earth, the nuclear facility in Japan exploded. At that time, there were many rumors in the coastal areas, saying that the nuclear pollution had drifted to the coast along with the seawater and would pollute the entire salt field. This would cause the price of salt to skyrocket. It might even cause a national salt shortage. In the end, this news made everyone go crazy. One by one, they rushed to the supermarket to buy the salt. Some even bought a few years' worth of salt. Seeing so many people go crazy, the others also joined in the rush. It should be known that these people's IQs passed. Some were even university professors. But because this kind of rumor spread too quickly, countless people rushed to buy, causing them to lose their minds. They had no time to think about whether this was true or not. As a result, one by one, they went to the supermarket, forming a herd mentality leading to the rush. One person was smart, but a group of people together was stupid. From this, the power of rumors could be seen. Whoosh! Xiaoping immediately appeared in the management office of the training tower. At this time, many elite students also received the news and hurried over. Seeing Xiaoping's figure in this place, their eyes turned green. Xiaoping. An elite student rushed up and glared at Xiaoping. "What are you doing here, kid?" He was anxious and angry. At the same time, he was glad that he believed the words on the forum. Otherwise, this animal Xiaoping would have succeeded. The other elite students also glared at Xiaoping, as if they wanted to tear him to pieces. "Nothing. I just have some business to do." Xiaoping said carelessly, "Right, it's so late. What are you guys doing here in groups? Don't you need to sleep?" "Sleep my ass." The group of elite students gritted their teeth. If they really went back to sleep, they were afraid that Xiaoping would really succeed. All the gravity room would be occupied by Xiaoping. Then, how could they train for the next 2 months? All of them should just go back to their hometown and plant sweet potatoes. F***CKU. Don't F***CK me. Hurry up and scram. An elite student shouted at Xiaoping, telling him to scram. Xiaoping said disdainfully, "So what if I'm doing some business? It's none of your business. You don't go back to sleep in the middle of the night. Instead, you wander around here all day and have nothing better to do. Are you elite students so free all day? Keep pretending, Xiaoping, keep pretending. Your plot has been completely exposed. Do you know that? You want to take over the entire gravity room? Only you can think of such a wasteful thing. To tell you the truth, don't even think about doing business today. Hurry up and go home to sleep." The group of elite students clenched their fists tightly. They all looked as if they wouldn't stop Xiaoping if they didn't stop him. If they really let this brat take over the entire gravity room, then they would really have nothing to do for the next 2 months. Hearing this, Xiaoping revealed a look as if he didn't expect his evil plan to be known. He simply broke the pot and said, "Well, since you know my plan, then I won't hide it. I'll tell you directly. That's right. I've already gathered a large amount of money and plan to take over the entire gravity room for 2 months. Don't you all want to target and ostracize me? That's why I'm very angry. The consequences are very serious. Even if I have to pay a huge price, I'll disgust you all and vent my anger. Anyway, I'm just a new student. Even if I can't do it this time, there's still next time or even the time after that. But you guys can't. Without this opportunity, you'll have to get the hell out of Yanhuan University." Evil. Although they already knew about Xiaoping's evil plan on the forum, hearing it from Xiaoping's own mouth still made them feel a chill from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. How could there be such a shameless and evil person in the world? To actually pay such a huge price just to vent his anger, he simply didn't treat money as money, harming others without benefiting himself. He would rather suffer a huge loss than let them have a good life. What kind of despicable person was this? He would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. His heart was so vicious that there was no end to it. All right, since you all know my plan, then I won't waste any more words with you. A bunch of poor bastards. Get the hell out of here. Xiaoping waved his hand. Wait until I take over the gravity room. Then you guys can just sit outside and watch. Maybe you can run outside or lift weights. This kind of exercise is very suitable for poor bastards like you. He put on a rich and overbearing look, clearly wanting to use money to smash people until they started to doubt their own lives. Pour my ass. Don't think you're the only one with money. You want to use money to smash us? Dream on. Isn't it just 2 months of gravity rooms? Only 100,000 points? We have that too. That's right. You're not the only one who can take over the gravity room. We can too. Many elite students clenched their fists and stared at Xiaoping. They had also thought of a plan to take over the gravity room. After all, Xiaoping wasn't the only one who could do it. They had the qualifications too. Really? Don't force yourself. Xiaoping's face was full of doubt. Force your ass. Although 100,000 points is a lot, it's not like we don't have any. Even if we don't have any, we can still raise funds. With a few of us, each of us can take out tens of thousands of points. That's a piece of cake. If that's not enough, we can take out a loan. All the elite students sneered at Xiaoping. Although they didn't have as much money as Xiaoping, if they really wanted to take out tens of thousands of points, they could just barely do it. Although they all felt that it was a waste of money, in order to resist Xiaoping's evil plan, they had no choice but to take out this sum of money. Otherwise, they would really be cheated by Xiaoping. All right, let's see how much money you have. After saying this, Xiaoping smiled and glanced at the elite students around him. He knew that his plan had succeeded. He pretended to be flustered and exasperated, then turned around and left. Haha, this is so cool. Looking at Xiaoping's flustered and exasperated expression makes my whole body feel good. My scheme has been exposed. That's all there is to it. This kid wants to fight us. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Hurry up and go back to raise funds. Don't let Xiaoping take it all. If that happens, we'll all be cheated to death. Of course, 100,000 points is nothing. We definitely can't let his scheme succeed. Chapter 553. Book me a gravity training room for 2 months. Me too. I'll book it together. In order to prevent Xiaoping from booking all the gravity rooms and causing the people around him to be unable to use them, many elite students went to the management office to book gravity rooms for 2 months, just like Xiaoping. Immediately, a small portion of the gravity rooms were booked by the elite students present, and this news quickly spread to the ears of all the elite students. What did you say? A large portion of the gravity rooms have been booked, and they're going to be gone soon? That's impossible. Didn't they say that there were enough gravity rooms? How could they be gone so soon? Because of Xiaoping, the other elite students are also fighting for the right to use the gravity rooms. If they don't act fast, they'll all be taken. Many elite students were shocked. They didn't go online before, so they didn't know about this. By the time they found out, a portion of the gravity rooms had already been taken. At this time, Xiaoping created a sock puppet and immediately posted a message on the internet to threaten the other elite students. According to reliable sources, only a small portion of the gravity rooms are left. If you don't book them now, there won't be any empty gravity rooms for the next 2 months. What? If they were just shocked before, then they were completely shocked now. They didn't expect the situation to be this critical. They might not be able to use the gravity rooms for the next 2 months. Damn it, the genius battle is about to start. The gravity rooms are extremely important to me. The diamond protection art I'm cultivating needs the omnipresent gravity in the gravity room to refine every inch of my muscles, bones, and cells. That's the only way I can cultivate it to great completion. Isn't that right? My green wind brushing willow sword art, if I can use it freely under 10 times the gravity, the power of my sword art will increase by at least 10 times. 2 months of training can completely raise my combat power to a new level. Now you're telling me that I won't be able to use it for the next 2 months? No, we have to book the gravity rooms in advance. Otherwise, we won't be able to get any. Booking for 2 months costs more than 100,000 points? That's nothing. If we can win the genius battle, this is just a small amount. Many elite students were going crazy. They hadn't expected that the originally plentiful gravity training room would be occupied by others at this time. They might not be able to use it for the next 2 months. And it's such a critical moment. How could they bear it? Some of the elite students who had been watching the show from the sidelines, thinking that they wouldn't be affected, were now afraid. If this happened, they wouldn't be able to use the gravity chambers, and they might lose out in the upcoming genius battle. All of them were scared out of their wits. They rushed to the training tower's management office to book gravity training rooms. In the end, the originally plentiful gravity room was snatched up by the elite students. Some people were rich enough to order 5 rooms at once. Some people gritted their teeth and took out more than 100,000 points. Some people really did not have the money, so they could only team up with a few companions and buy together. Some of them even took out loans from the school and used their privileges as elite students to obtain a large number of points to reserve a gravity training room. In just one day, hundreds of gravity training rooms have been swept clean, not leaving a single spot. The elite students who hadn't made a move yet and were still watching were completely scared out of their wits. There really wasn't a single gravity training room left. Even if they had the points, they wouldn't be able to buy one. In other words, they wouldn't be able to use the gravity training room for the next 2 months. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal even if they didn't use the gravity training room for 2 months. But in 2 months, it would be the genius battle, and it was the critical time to strengthen one's martial arts. Without the help of the gravity training room, many elite students wouldn't be able to increase their strength, and this made many people go crazy. Gone. All the gravity training rooms are gone. Damn it. Why did this happen? Didn't they say the gravity training room was plentiful? Now they're telling me I can only use it in 2 months? It'll be too late by then. Those bastards are crazy. What's the use of reserving for 2 months? Some people even reserve 20 rooms. Are they planning to use them as toilets? They're occupying the toilet, but not taking a shit. Is no one going to do anything? Hogging public resources like this is too much. A group of elite students who hadn't reserved a gravity training room were infuriated. They protested to the management, asking for them to be revoked. But it was useless because this wasn't against the rules. The management couldn't immediately refuse the unreasonable request. So what if they're angry? They can't change the reality. It's time to wrap things up. Hearing this news, Xiaoping smiled faintly, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. These were all his plans, which he had learned from some bad real estate businessmen in his previous life. In his previous life on Earth, a group of real estate speculators came to an area. First, they bought a portion of the houses and spread the news that the prices of the houses in the area would rise rapidly. In the beginning, only some people believed it and bought it. Most people were still skeptical. A small number of people snorted, saying how could the prices of such a rubbish place rise? They said it wouldn't rise in their lifetime. After a while, the group of real estate speculators spread the news again, saying that the prices of houses had doubled and there were only a dozen houses left. If they missed this opportunity, there wouldn't be any more in the future and the prices would rise tenfold. When the locals heard this, they were scared half to death. They found out that the prices of houses had indeed risen and there weren't many houses left. Every single one of them rushed to buy houses. These people came one after another, creating a wave of panic. The prices of the houses in the entire area were pushed to an extremely high level. Everyone was afraid that the prices would continue to rise. The group of real estate speculators took advantage of this time to sell the houses they had obtained at the beginning. They bought low and sold high, making a huge profit. They toyed with everyone in the palm of their hands. Now, Xiaoping was using the same method. He purposely made everyone reserve the gravity training room, turning the originally rare gravity training room into a rare one. Most people couldn't use it. Then there was only one way to go, and that was to raise the price. Xiaoping immediately spread the news to the other elite students. He said he had 20 gravity training rooms for elite students who needed to train, but it would cost 300 points per hour. This price was 3 times higher than before. What? Chapter 554. 300 points per hour? You might as well go rob me. Hearing this news, an elite student cursed loudly. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was a madman. Previously, the gravity room only cost 100 points per hour. But in the hands of this kid, It had become 300 points per hour. The price had increased by 3 times. If this wasn't robbery, then what would be? If this kid could sell it at 3 times the original price, he could probably earn a few million points. This was clearly robbery. He wanted to get rich overnight. The group of elite students glared at this black-hearted businessman. Thinking about how this kid could earn so many points, their eyes turned green. If you don't want it, then forget it. I'll raise the price tomorrow. If you don't want it, then 500 points per hour. Xiaoping was very calm. He didn't care about this poor elite student. Even if this kid couldn't afford it, someone else would. Moreover, some elite students just happened to be in need. They were at a bottleneck in their cultivation. Without the gravity room, they probably wouldn't be able to break through. Still rising? Tomorrow, 500 points per hour. Many people were completely dumbfounded. They thought Xiaoping was completely crazy. How could he come up with such a price? Not satisfied with 3 times the original price, now he wanted to raise it by 5 times. Did he really think their points came from the wind? Xiaoping, you black-hearted businessman. You want to raise the price by 500 points? You must be crazy to earn money. Whoever would agree to use 500 points to buy the right to use your gravity room is an idiot. An elite student shouted. He didn't believe that anyone would buy the right to use Xiaoping's gravity room. Raising the price by 5 times in one go was crazy. That's right. You're not the only one with a gravity room. Another elite student sneered. Others have also reserved gravity rooms. We could totally rent them. They definitely won't be as black-hearted as you. That's right. Let your gravity room rot in your hands. Who would fall for a black-hearted businessman like you? Some elite students gritted their teeth. They definitely wouldn't spend so many points to buy the right to use Xiaoping's gravity room. They thought that there were other options. There was no need to hang on to Xiaoping. Whatever. Xiaoping waved his hand, telling these elite students to scram. He was very calm. Many elite students left angrily. They went to find other people who had reserved the gravity training room, wanting to rent it for 100 points per hour. However, they were disappointed. This group of people refused to lend it to them. They all said that they would only be willing to rent it for 300 points per hour. 300 points per hour? You're King Xiaoping. You're robbing. Do you have any humanity? Earning so much. Aren't you afraid of having a son? We're classmates. 300 points per hour, and the price is 3 times higher than before. Do you think it's appropriate for you to state such a ridiculous price? The group of elite students cursed loudly. They hadn't expected that this group of people who were supposed to be their companions would also show signs of wanting to cheat them of a large number of points. Their original expectations were completely shattered. The people who were in the same group as them actually stood on Xiaoping's side. That was then, and this is now. That's right. We booked it for 2 months and lost over 100,000 points. That's right, that's right. If we don't make some money now, are you going to cover our losses? Ping. Ping, 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 as well as they wanted. Well as said, they as they could. Piss off if you don't have the money. Don't use the gravity room. Go for a run or a lift. That's perfect for poor people like you. When they saw Xiaoping suddenly raise the price by 5 times, they immediately knew Xiaoping's scheme. He clearly wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. Their eyes lit up. They thought they'd found a way to make a fortune when they saw Xiaoping suddenly raise the price by 5 times. After all, they had spent more than 100,000 points to reserve a gravity training room. They had thought that it was all for naught, but now it seemed that not only had it not been for naught, but they had even made a huge profit. They immediately became excited, and their blood boiled. If the price was raised by 5 times, they could sell it for more than 700,000 points. That would be 500,000 to 600,000 points. They wouldn't be able to make such a fortune even if they worked for years. But now that it was within their reach, no fool would give it up. Even if they couldn't make 5 times the profit, 3 times the profit would still be a big one. Therefore, even if they knew about Xiaoping's scheme, they wouldn't expose it. They wouldn't undermine him because they had vested interests and were already standing on the same boat as Xiaoping. Shameless to the extreme. Have you forgotten? Xiaoping is our enemy. How did you all become like this? Have you forgotten our friendship just for a few points? We're classmates. Won't you have a conscience if you earn this kind of black-hearted money? We should unite. Don't let that black-hearted Xiaoping drive a wedge between us. That's right. We should take out the gravity room like before. Many elite students tried their best to dissuade them, hoping that they'd realize their mistakes and not be blinded by greed. Scram! That group of people had only said one word. They thought their glib tongue could make them give up hundreds of thousands or even millions of points. These people were either idiots or harboring evil intentions. They were all adults. How could they be so naive? Bastards! The elite students' faces darkened. They clenched their fists, the veins on their foreheads popping. They didn't expect that these classmates who had a good relationship with each other would suddenly change their attitudes in the face of profit. They were no longer united against a common enemy. The group that had formed an alliance to deal with Xiaoping had immediately fallen apart. There was even a gap between them. Even if this matter ended, they would probably never be on good terms again. Friendship, Xiaoping sneered. This kind of thing was too illusory. He couldn't deny that in this world, there existed friendship that transcended life and death. There existed friendship that could sacrifice everything for others. However, 99% of people didn't have this kind of thing. At least, the people present didn't have this kind of thing. They were just ordinary people who would betray others for a bit of profit. They didn't betray others before because the profit wasn't enough. With tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of points in front of them, who could guarantee that their temperament wouldn't change? Even though those people spoke in a dignified manner, saying that they had a guilty conscience, if they had their own gravity room, they would benefit from it. They would be able to earn hundreds of thousands or even millions of points, which would definitely be a different story. It was similar to those who speculated in real estate. Those who didn't own a house would complain about the high prices. However, those who own a house might not say it, but they were secretly happy in their hearts. The higher the prices, the better. This was human nature. We'll definitely win this time. Chapter 555. Damn it, these black-hearted businessmen. Their hearts are as black as Xiaoping's. I couldn't see their true colors before, but now I can. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Bastards in human form, I hope we can unite. As long as we unite and don't go to the gravity room, we can endure for 2 months. Those guys will naturally collapse. That's right, these bastards can only endure for 2 months. Sooner or later, they will all collapse and lose hundreds of thousands. These bastards are going to die. Many elite students were cursing and swearing, using vicious words to curse this group of black-hearted elite students. They actually wanted to earn black-hearted money at this time. They were simply shameless to the extreme. But in just half a day, this so-called gang immediately collapsed. Some people couldn't wait that long. There were only 2 months left until the genius battle. In these 2 months, every second was a race against time. They couldn't waste any time. Some people could endure because they didn't need the gravity room at all. It was easy to talk. Some people couldn't endure because their cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If they didn't borrow the gravity room, they wouldn't be able to break through. Moreover, although 300 points per hour was a lot, in fact, they didn't even need to rent it for a day. Just 1 or 2 hours per day was enough. Therefore, it was only 500 or 600 points. For elite students, it was only a small number. It wasn't unbearable. Although there weren't many people like this, just a few of them were enough to make many elite students' mental defenses collapse. This was the so-called 1,000-mile dam collapses because of an ant's nest. Soon, this group of elite students completely collapsed. No one wanted to resist anymore. I want it. 2 hours. I want 3 hours a day, at least for a month. I'll fight anyone who dares to compete with me. Quite a few elite students stepped forward to purchase the rights to use the gravity room from those black-hearted merchants. The price was 300 points per hour. Immediately, a group of people laughed so hard that their eyes almost disappeared. How could there be such a good business in this world? Damn it! Everyone's eyes turned green, but they couldn't stop them. After all, these people were at a bottleneck. If they tried to stop them, wouldn't they be making a mortal enemy of them? In just one day, the crowd was so excited that more than half of it had been reserved. It was a situation where the supply could not meet the demand. But even so, most people still couldn't use it, and the supply couldn't meet the demand. The rest of the students who hadn't sold the right to use the gravity room saw this and knew what it meant to be a rare commodity. They didn't hesitate to raise the price 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and after a few days, the price had risen to 10 times. Some people clamored for a price of 1,000 points per hour, and they would not sell it even if it was 1 point less. Compared to a week ago, Xiaoping's offer of 5 times the price was simply too cheap. 1,000 points an hour. This is daylight robbery. No, it's worse than daylight robbery. Previously, when that black-hearted Xiaoping said 500 points per hour, I thought he was black-hearted. Now, someone is offering 1,000 points per hour. Damn, I actually think Xiaoping's price is very cheap. It's only half. How can it not be cheap? Don't think that the current price is very high. Someone said that if it continues like this, the price might still rise. It might even rise to 10,000 points per hour. F***CK, his grandpa. 10,000 points per hour for a month. Why doesn't he go to heaven? Does he really think this is some dragon meat or phoenix blood? This is not how you scam people. This is just an exaggeration. Even if it doesn't reach 10,000 points per hour, it might reach 2,000 or even 3,000 points per hour. That's very possible. Bastards, this group of black-hearted bastards who only see money. Sooner or later, they'll have a son who will lose his virginity. Many elite students were scared silly. This was the first time they had seen the power of the price increase. It was so high that they began to doubt their lives. Who would have thought that the right to use the gravity room would rise to such an extent? Some elite students actually didn't want to enter the gravity room to cultivate. Instead, they saw that there was a profit to be made. Instantly, they became envious and raised the price to buy the right to use the gravity room. Then, they would sell it at a higher price, buying low and selling high. However, there were also some students who just needed the gravity room to cultivate. They were also afraid that the price would continue to rise. Therefore, they gritted their teeth and bought the right to use the gravity room no matter how expensive it was. The problem was that by doing so, the price continued to rise. There was no way to stop it. At this time, everyone had gone crazy. They had almost lost their minds. Some wanted to buy low and sell high to make a profit. Some just needed it, and some were loan sharks, adding fuel to the fire. As for the instigator, Xiaoping could no longer remember him. Xiaoping took advantage of the frenzy of the crowd and quickly sold the 19 gravity chambers in his possession at the price of 500 points per hour. This price was far from 10 times the price. It was simply too cheap. A group of people rushed to buy without hesitation. It was as if they didn't see money as money. Some people even looked down on Xiaoping for selling so cheaply. At this time, no one remembered their grudge with Xiaoping. No one mentioned going against him. They just wanted to buy the gravity rooms at a low price and sell them to make a fortune. Xiaoping's expression was very calm. Although he didn't sell them at the highest price, he still made 5 times the original price. So far, he had earned more than 13 million points. Even among the core students, not many had such points. It was enough to buy anything in the school. It could be said that with such a simple scheme, all the points that those elite students had painstakingly earned were all plundered into his hands, and he made a huge fortune. A group of elite students were all working for him. Who's the smart one and who's the idiot? It's hard to say. Xiaoping didn't feel it was a pity that he couldn't sell them at the highest price. In fact, selling them at the highest price was just a fantasy. At that time, no one would be stupid enough to buy them at a high price. At that time, even if there was such a price, no one would be able to sell them. It was better to sell them at a slightly lower price and earn 5 times the original price. That was the real benefit. Without the benefit in hand, it would only be a pavilion in the air, a flower in the mist, and the moon in the water. Most importantly, such a foul behavior would sooner or later alarm the higher-ups of the school. At that time, an administrative order would come down, and all the people who tried to create hype would die. It's time to quit and focus on cultivation. Xiaoping was very calm. He had already sold all the gravity rooms he had. All that was left was to sit on a mountain and watch the tigers fight. Chapter 556. Another week passed. The sale of the gravity room was in full swing, and the price kept rising. It even reached 5,000 points per hour, which was 50 times more than before. At this time, the elite students were completely crazy. They didn't care whether it was worth the price or not. They only knew that if they could sell the right to use the gravity room, they would be able to make a fortune. They wouldn't have to worry about the expenses for a few years. How could there be such a profitable business in the world? There was one right now. However, the price of 5,000 points per hour was too shocking. It was so high that people could only look up to it in admiration. Many people who needed it couldn't afford it at all and flinched away. No, it can't go on like this. 5,000 points per hour? Are you kidding me? This is scarier than robbery. I worked so hard to complete the missions and earn points, and now they're all taken away by these black-hearted businessmen. If this goes on, we won't be able to train anymore. Report this to the school authorities. This is a public resource of the school, not a toy for these rich students. Therefore, these people immediately reported to the school authorities and complained about the black-hearted businessmen. During the appeal period, some people fought for the right to use the gravity room, and a few students were sent to the hospital. This incident completely alarmed the school authorities. They also knew about it. They didn't expect that someone would sell the right to use the gravity room and raise the price to such a high. They investigated for a few days and were shocked. If this continued, many elite students would go bankrupt. This would cause serious problems for the school, because in order to sell, many students even borrowed from loan sharks. The interest was very high, and if they couldn't pay it back, there would be serious consequences. Some people might even die, and it would affect the whole school. This is crazy. In just a few weeks, the price went from 100 points to 5,000 points. Foul atmosphere to foul atmosphere. Borrowing money from others. Is he still a student? If this continues, who else will use the gravity room? The gravity room is for people to train in, not for publicity. Deal with it immediately. Otherwise, who knows how far these people will go before they stop. A group of school authorities cursed. They realized the seriousness of the matter and immediately dealt with it with a heavy fist. They ordered that no one was allowed to sell the right to use the gravity room. Violators would be punished immediately, and the more serious ones would be expelled from the school. At the same time, they also stipulated that each person could only reserve one gravity training room in the future, and they could only reserve it for one day. The price was also fixed. It could not exceed 500 points per hour. Chapter 557. Aya, isn't this senior brother Chendong intercepting me here? Are you going to treat me to a meal? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He could see that the leader of this group of elite students was the elite student Chendong, an expert at the 7th level of the martial master realm. Treat my ass. Chendong gritted his teeth. Because of this incident, he had lost hundreds of thousands of points. It was a huge loss. He had lost several years of savings and even owed usury. Many people wanted to settle the score with him. It could be said that he was a complete pauper. Even his girlfriend had abandoned him because of this incident, but this guy actually wanted him to treat him to a meal. It was simply a dream. If you don't want to treat me, then forget it. A good dog doesn't block the way. Xiaoping waved his hand and was about to walk in. Stop right there. Chendong shouted angrily. Don't play dumb here. How dare you pretend to be innocent here? If it wasn't for you maliciously hyping up this incident and leading us into this trap, we wouldn't have suffered such heavy losses this time. Some people even went bankrupt and couldn't even pay for tomorrow's food expenses. You must give me an explanation today. Many people glared at Xiaoping. All of them had suffered heavy losses in this incident and lost an unknown amount of money. Since the school couldn't compensate them, they naturally had to find someone who should compensate them. As the main culprit, Xiaoping naturally wouldn't shirk his duty. An explanation? Xiaoping sneered. You didn't give me an explanation when you earned money. Now that you've lost money, you want me to give you an explanation? You want me to give you an explanation? Who is going to give me an explanation? He was very unhappy. A group of paupers who had lost all their money actually wanted him to give them an explanation. It seemed like they wanted him to compensate these people for their losses. If he really lost money, Wouldn't the other elite students flock to him? No matter how much money he had, it wouldn't be enough. Moreover, this group of people really thought that he was a pushover. They thought that he could be bullied casually and that they could extort him successfully. Dong sneered. You're still pretending here. Tell me, how much money did you earn this time? I've asked around, and you sold it for 5 times the original price. It can't be faked. Through simple mathematical calculations, you've earned at least 13 million points this time. Shouldn't you compensate us for our losses after earning so much? If it weren't for us, how could you have earned so many points? We also have a share of the profits. He had already investigated this matter thoroughly and knew how many points Xiaoping had earned. The other elite students also looked at Xiaoping with envy. They had suffered heavy losses this time. They had lost at least hundreds of thousands of points. Some had even lost hundreds of thousands or millions of points. But this kid had earned more than 10 million points for nothing. The difference was too great. They felt it was unfair, so they wanted to get a share of the profits and extort a sum of money to make up for the deficit. Indeed, I've earned so much, but this is based on my own ability. It's none of your business. Xiaoping cast a sidelong glance at the group of elite students. Damn it, it really is true. We've all lost hundreds of thousands of points, but this guy has earned more than 10 million points. This is so infuriating. How can he earn so much? God is so unfair. If this kid had left a little later, he would have definitely lost a few million. The gravity room would have been ruined in his hands, but he ran too fast. This money is all black-hearted money. It's all stolen from us. The group of elite students gritted their teeth. Although they had already expected it, hearing Xiaoping admit it made all of them go crazy with jealousy. They wanted to rob all of Xiaoping's wealth and take it for themselves. It's good that you admit it. Dong looked at Xiaoping sinisterly and shouted, Hurry up and hand over all the money you've earned to make up for our deficit. Otherwise, you'll lose your virginity after earning so much black-hearted money. You'll suffer retribution. He cursed them viciously. Retribution? A group of stray dogs who have lost so much money that they don't even have pants left want money from me to make up for the deficit. You don't even know how to spell the word death. If you want money from me, kneel down immediately. If you kneel until I'm comfortable, I'll give you tens of thousands of points. Xiaoping looked at these people with a cold smile. What did you say? Hearing this, the group of elite students were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They didn't dare to believe what they had heard. Be asterisk starred. How dare a junior talk to a senior like this? Do you know how much you're worth? An elite student suddenly flew into a rage. With a boom, a huge airflow came out of his body, spurting out from his 108,000 pores. With his body as the center, a terrifying aura was produced, causing the surrounding students to fly out. He displayed the power of a martial master in the sixth heaven. With a slap, he clenched his hand and condensed his chi into a saber. It contained a destructive vitality and slashed down at Xiaoping in the air. It was as if the earth was going to be split in half. Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He just slapped out with his palm. Immovable Buddha's palm. The power of this palm was many times stronger than before. It already contained a hint of immovable 8 directions, and like Buddha's heart. The power was unparalleled, like a Buddha Vajra. His palm contained Buddha's light, solemn and dignified, with the power to subdue demons. Dong! The elite student let out a shrill scream. His saber technique was completely broken. He was smashed into pieces with a single slap. Even the qigong on his body was torn apart in a second. His whole body was firmly smashed on his chest by this slap. A clear palm print was left on his chest, and his body was sent flying. He flew hundreds of meters in the air before smashing into the ground with a thud. More than 10 bones in his body were broken, and his internal organs were severely injured. He was lying on the ground like a turtle. Oh! The elite student screamed again and again. His face was red. He was ashamed and angry to the extreme. He was sent flying by a junior brother with a slap. He was beaten until he was lying on the ground like a turtle in front of so many students. This was simply a loss of face. You don't have the ability to stand up for others. Do you understand how I feel when I beat people up? Senior, you're overestimating yourself. Today, I'll teach you one thing. Don't be arrogant in school in the future. When you see me, you have to tuck your tail between your legs. Xiaoping looked down at the elite student. Otherwise, I'll beat up people like you every time I see them. I'll beat them until even your girlfriend can't recognize you. Do you understand? He clenched his fists. Pooh! The elite student couldn't take it anymore. He was so angry that his lungs felt like they were going to explode. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, and his eyelids turned white. He actually fainted from anger. Chapter 558. Bastard. A junior dares to do such a vicious thing to a senior. Just because he has some strength, he even dares to humiliate a senior. This is too much. Let's attack together and kill him. This is a provocation to our senior. This is a humiliation to our dignity. If we don't destroy his prestige, who will still listen to us? In an instant, the group of elite students immediately became furious. Each of them used their qigong and controlled the airflow. In an instant, they surrounded Xiaoping with a murderous look. All of them were experts at the fifth heaven of martial master and were proficient in king-level qigong. Their strength was tyrannical. When they joined forces, their qigong resonated with each other, forming a terrifying aura that crushed over. Even martial arts experts would be suppressed under this aura, and they would be scared out of their wits. Among them, the fastest one was Chundong. With a clang, he pulled out a big saber in his hand, and immediately a purple flame emerged from his body. This flame contained a terrifying destructive power. The surrounding students were all shocked. This flame saber was extremely powerful and contained a killing intent like the autumn wind. Once it hit the enemy, it could instantly take away all the vitality of the enemy. This huge saber chi descended, tearing the air apart. The air vibrated thousands of times, and the momentum was astonishing. Even a small mountain would be completely cut under such saber chi. You're courting death. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. The pure yang immortal incantation in his body began to operate. Feeling the attack of countless forces, the hell golden crow cells in his body trembled. The true essence in the depths of his dantian seemed to be greatly stimulated. It became stronger and stronger, like boiling lava, flowing between his meridians. Clapless palm. He slapped out with his palm, and countless palm shadows appeared in the void. Even each palm print contained unparalleled power, like an ancient giant, able to uproot mountains and fill the sea. Dong! This palm hit Chun Dong's body fiercely, instantly smashing his qigong defense. The tyrannical palm force penetrated every corner of his body. Ah! Chun Dong screamed, and his body flew backward, smashing into a group of students behind him. 5 or 6 people were sent flying, colliding with each other, and their bones were shattered. What? How can this kid be so strong? Even an expert at the 7th heaven of martial master is no match for him. Did he take drugs? How can he be so strong? This kid is only a 5th division martial master. How could he be so strong? What energy art does he cultivate? The surrounding elite students were all incomparably shocked. Their hearts twitched violently. One had to know that Chun Dong was an expert of the 7th heaven of martial master. He was already an advanced martial master. Even among the elite students, they could be considered as decent experts. Against a freshman, it would be easy for them to deal with him. That was what they all thought before. But now, Senior Chun Dong was as weak as a baby in front of Xiaoping. With a single palm strike, he was sent flying and fell to the ground, coughing out blood nonstop. His body twitched nonstop like a dead dog, unable to speak at all. Die! Xiaoping rushed forward like a tiger in a flock of sheep. His fists and kicks exploded with the might of a ferocious beast, bombarding those elite students. Bastard! Instantly, the group of elite students were all incomparably shocked. Who would have thought that this brat would be so ferocious as to dare to attack so many of them? Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, the group of elite students was caught off guard. They were hit one after another, their energy vibrating. At this moment, with Xiaoping as the center, they were sent flying in all directions. They flew for dozens of meters and finally smashed into the ground, creating a deep pit. One by one, they fell to the ground like turtles. They could not help but spit out blood, dyeing the ground red. Too strong. Too strong. This kid just became an elite student not long ago. No wonder he destroyed the Windchaser bandits, killed the entire Unable gang, and even killed Scorpion 13. This is too terrifying. This kind of strength is enough to sweep away all enemies. He is already so strong now. When he advances to the peak of the Martial Master realm, who can be his opponent? This battle had also alarmed many elite students in the training tower. They all came out to watch, and they also saw Xia Ping display his invincible might, easily taking care of Chun Dong's group, beating them until they were lying on the ground like turtles, unable to move. They could not help but clench their fists. Previously, there were many rumors about Xia Ping, but they thought that they were all exaggerated. To have such a battle record, perhaps it was because he used high-tech martial arts techniques and used all kinds of schemes. It was not because this kid was strong in martial arts. But now that they saw Xia Ping's battle, they were completely shocked. These elite students realized that even in martial arts, he was above many elite students. No one could underestimate him. You want to find trouble with me with this little ability? Aren't you afraid that others will laugh their heads off? Xia Ping looked down at Chun Dong and the others. You all have no ability, but you think of some crooked ways. You want to stop me from entering the training tower and extort money. Stand up. If you have the guts, stand up and try to be arrogant again. Let me see what kind of 3 heads and 6 arms you have. How dare you extort me? He clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. What the hell? The elite students next to him had strange expressions. This kid did not give them any face at all. It was clearly a slap in the face in public. He did not give these people a chance to step down at all. The faces of Chun Dong and the others were blue and purple. They were extremely sullen. They had been beaten down by Xia Ping in public without being able to fight back. This in itself was a great humiliation. Now, they were humiliated by Xia Ping's words, which made them unable to step down. They were so angry that they even wanted to kill Xia Ping now. But before Xia Ping could continue to speak, a deep voice came from the depths of the training tower. It was vast and majestic like thunder, buzzing. Kid, you are the rumored genius Xia Ping. You are indeed arrogant, but you have some ability. But do you know what too hard is easy to break means? You don't give people face and humiliate your seniors in public. Is this your duty as a junior? Do you know what it means to respect your seniors? You are so arrogant as a freshman. If you wait a few years and advance to the Master Realm, won't you be so arrogant? I'm afraid you won't even care about the king. As your senior, I have to teach you a lesson. You should know your limits. Get over here. Chapter 559. Rumble. As the hand descended, it was like the hand of a giant, with enough power to shake mountains. Xia Ping suddenly felt like he was suffocating, as if his energy were being locked down by the hand. It was like Mount Tai was crushing down on him, making it impossible for him to escape. This level of power surpassed that of any martial master he had ever encountered. At the very least, he was an expert of the 8th division of the martial master level or higher. Even amongst elite students, he would be considered one of the top experts, on the verge of reaching the grandmaster level. With such power, it was easy to imagine how arrogant he could be. However, Xia Ping wasn't afraid. Eyes shining with cold light, he said, "You want to teach me a lesson? Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Wait until you're strong enough before you talk to me again." Drawing on his energy arts, he unleashed them, causing 108,000 pores on his body to erupt with terrifying power, like a jet plane. The ground quaked, and the elite students could sense that Xia Ping's energy was many times stronger than before. It was almost as if he were revealing his true power. The air in the area was distorted by his energy arts. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping's fist shot out to meet the enormous hand head-on. Shameless boasting. You don't know the height of the heavens and the breadth of the earth. How many experts have you ever met in your life? Today, I'll show you how insignificant you are. The voice echoed out again, causing the air to tremble, and the surrounding students could hear it clearly. Apparently, it was a powerful sound wave energy art. Rumbling sounds echoed out as the enormous hand in midair transformed. Countless streams of true energy surged out, transforming into an enormous painting. The painting depicted mountains and rivers, each of which surged with black water, filled with countless vengeful souls. Vaguely, the roars of devil ghosts could be heard echoing out. The painting emanated a boundless, mysterious, bizarre, and tyrannical aura that seemed capable of crushing any demon, devil, or ghost into pieces. My God, that's a high-grade royal-class energy art, the Netherworld Narcissus Immortal Painting. One of the elite students shrieked as he recognized the true nature of the energy art. What? A high-grade royal-class energy art? Are you kidding me? That's an astronomical number of merit points. Paupers like us can't possibly afford it. Although there's only a difference of one level between the king-level medium grade and the high grade, the difference in power is like the difference between heaven and earth. It's said that the Netherworld Narcissus Immortal diagram is even more terrifying. Once mastered, one will be able to control all kinds of water and possess all kinds of water-type special abilities. Once used, one can instantly suppress countless demons. I can't believe he cultivates a high-grade royal-class energy art. No wonder he's so arrogant. It seems Xiaoping really kicked an iron plate. I can't believe he provoked someone so important. Generally speaking, these kinds of people have a high chance of ranking among the top geniuses in the tournament. Right now, they are all in closed-door training and won't come out easily. But now that he has appeared, I reckon that this Xiaoping has already caused the heavens to be enraged and the people to resent him. Some of the monsters can't stand it anymore and want to teach him a lesson. Many of the elite students' eyes went wide. For some of them, this was their first time seeing a high-grade royal-class energy art, and it left them shaken to the core. In fact, as soon as he made a move, he unleashed all sorts of energy art manifestations that were terrifying to the extreme. Netherworld Narcissus Painting? A high-grade, royal-class energy art? Interesting. Just wait until I break that so-called energy art of yours. Then let's see what else you can do. Xiaoping simply stood in place, unmoving. His hands formed a circle, and he drew upon his true energy to unleash a fist strike that caused the air to shatter. It was as if he were a Buddha, and then he slammed it into the painting. Gradually, the sound of Buddhist chants could be heard, along with strange phenomena. This fist strike contained the power of a Vajra that could exterminate demons and devils, and was unstoppable and ferocious in nature. Not bad. Not bad at all. The owner of the voice seemed surprised by the power of the fist strike. I can't believe you've cultivated your fist technique to this level. I bet not even an elite student of the 7th level of martial arts would be a match for you. No wonder you beat Qingdong like a dead dog. But if you think you can stand up to my Netherworld Narcissus painting with that level of power, you're still far from strong enough. As soon as the words left his mouth, the painting trembled. In the blink of an eye, the painting seemed to come to life. The mountains and rivers inside seemed to come to life, and huge streams of water fell from the sky, turning into a waterfall. These streams of water weighed tens of tons, even hundreds of tons, and when they hit the ground, they created a huge crater. In the dark, a mysterious power circulated, and the water actually turned into a cage. In an instant, Xiaoping was trapped in an area with a diameter of 3 meters, forming a prison. Bang! Xiaoping punched out, and the air exploded as he smashed into the streams of water. The power of this punch was enough to tear steel to shreds, and even titanium alloy could be kneaded into any shape. But when the power of this punch hit the streams of water, it was completely absorbed and could not break through. The streams of water were so fast that they cut through the air like water blades. The slightest touch would cause skin to be torn. They surrounded Xiaoping like a prison, making it impossible for him to escape. Suppress. An angry roar sounded, like the roar of a water god, shaking the eardrums of the surrounding elite students. Even their souls seemed to be trembling, and they wanted nothing more than to prostrate themselves in worship. The painting in the sky came crashing down, covering Xiaoping, completely suppressing him and imprisoning him in the netherworld Narcissus prison. Strong, too strong. This is the high-grade king-class netherworld Narcissus painting. Even that lawless, uncontrollable, and arrogant Xia Ping is suppressed. There's no way he can escape. Heavens, this is a true elite student. He's already cultivated his qigong to the acme of perfection. I bet this senior is about to touch the Grandmaster realm. The surrounding elite students were all dumbfounded. When an expert made a move, it was obvious whether or not he was a real expert. Feeling the vast power of the qigong, they all felt that they were very small. If that mysterious senior were to make a move, he would be able to defeat all of them effortlessly. Xiaoping, don't worry. You are still an elite student of Yanhuan University, so I won't kill you. But I will trap you here for a day and a night, so you can reflect on your mistakes. The voice sounded again, thinking that it was in control of the situation, and its tone was incomparably arrogant. If you still don't know your mistakes, and don't apologize, I will continue to trap you here until you do. The elite students in the surroundings immediately knew that this senior wanted to humiliate Xiaoping. Moreover, he wanted to humiliate him in public. For a proud and arrogant genius, he actually had to apologize in front of so many people. What kind of humiliation was this? His invincible martial arts state of mind would be broken, and even stepping into the Grandmaster realm would be hindered. This senior's intentions were extremely sinister. But as soon as the senior finished speaking, Xiaoping's voice came from the netherworld Narcissus prison. You want to trap me for a day and a night, and you want me to apologize? Why don't you go eat shit? Chapter 560. Originally, Xiaoping would not have been able to break through the netherworld water prison with his current true yuan. His opponent's qigong was too strong. He was at least at the 8th layer of martial master and cultivated a high-grade king qigong. His true yuan was much stronger than the other elite students. However, Xiaoping still had a treasure. He took out the hell spear and poured all his true yuan into it, completely activating the treasure's mysterious power. Rumble. Immediately, the power in his body received feedback from the hell spear. His aura became more than 10 times stronger and even activated the hell spear's energy. He stabbed out with the spear. Bang! At that moment, the hell spear exploded with the power to pierce through everything. The netherworld water prison could not withstand this invincible power from hell and was instantly smashed into pieces, creating a big hole. Even the entire netherworld water prison completely collapsed under this power. Countless streams of water were blasted into dozens of pieces. The netherworld Narcissus immortal diagram in the sky was pierced through by the spear. It could not resist. Then, Xiaoping put the hell spear back into his spatial ring and calmly walked out. His 108,000 pores exploded with a terrifying force. With his body as the center, a terrifying vortex of air was formed. He was like a ghost god. The ground was shaken and densely packed cracks appeared like spider webs. Oh no, hi! The elite students who were watching the show did not expect this. They thought that the mysterious senior had victory in his grasp, and that no matter how powerful Xiaoping was, he would not be able to overturn the situation. However, they did not expect that as soon as the mysterious senior finished speaking, Xiaoping would go crazy. He tore the netherworld water prison apart and easily walked out. Because of this power, the air currents were shattered. The force spread out in all directions, creating extremely tyrannical air currents that shot out in all directions. Some of the elite students were caught off guard and were immediately struck by this scattered force. Their entire bodies were sent flying, smashing fiercely into the nearby walls, creating a huge crater. They let out miserable screams and could not help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Their lungs were severely injured. How is this possible? How can you break my netherworld Narcissus immortal diagram with your strength? Ah, puff. As the attack had shattered the netherworld Narcissus immortal pattern, the mysterious senior had suffered a backlash and vomited a mouthful of blood. With a whoosh, a figure flew out of the training tower in exasperation. This person was wearing blue clothes and was 8 meters tall. His eyes were a deep blue, and he had a strong physique. His body emitted a mysterious and cold aura, causing people to shiver. The moment he flew out of the training tower and walked on the ground, even the ground was frozen. An extremely cold aura pervaded the air, causing people to shiver involuntarily. At this moment, a trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. His face was gloomy and his heart was filled with extreme anger. Isn't this Senior Lu Boming? Some elite students immediately recognized the true identity of this blue-robed man. No wonder he cultivates a royal-class energy art, the Netherworld Narcissus Immortal Painting. So it's Senior Lu. Senior Lu used to be an extremely tyrannical genius in Yanhuang University. After becoming an elite student, his cultivation increased by leaps and bounds. He has already reached the 8th heaven of the Martial Master Realm, and it is said that he is not far from the 9th heaven of the Martial Master Realm. Before this, he was in seclusion, hoping to break through to the 9th heaven of the Martial Master Realm before the Battle of Geniuses. That way, he would be able to compete with the other geniuses. I didn't expect him to come out of seclusion now. Many elite students recognized the blue-robed man's identity. Good, very good, very good. Lu Boming's face was gloomy as he stared at Xiaoping. You're only a 5th heaven of the Martial Master Realm, yet you can break my Netherworld Narcissus Immortal Painting and escape from the Netherworld Aqua Prison. What skill? But don't be arrogant. Just now, I only used half of my strength. Once I use all of my strength, you will have nowhere to run. You will be like an ant, understand? His body was filled with killing intent. Keep bragging, Xiaoping said disdainfully. So what if I use all of my strength? Come at me if you have the guts. I can beat you like a dog in 3 moves. If I miss a move, I lose. His expression was very calm. Even though there was a difference of 3 realms in cultivation, if he used the Hell Spear, he would not be afraid of his opponent. This kid thinks he can scare me with just these words? What a joke. Amazing. The other elite students were full of admiration. Facing an expert like Lu Boming, he actually dared to provoke him like this, saying that he could defeat his opponent in 2 or 3 moves. How arrogant. They did not dare to imagine what would happen if they really angered Lu Boming. You are too arrogant. Lu Boming was instantly enraged. Ever since he became an elite student, he had always been invincible. In just a few years, he had advanced to the 8th heaven of the Martial Master Realm. His battle strength was tyrannical. When he came out to travel in the pugilistic world, who didn't flatter him? No one dared to be disrespectful to him. But now this kid was actually so arrogant, saying that he could defeat him in 2 or 3 moves. If he could endure this, he would not be Lu Boming. Then let me see how you're going to defeat me in 2 or 3 moves. Lu Boming roared, his hair standing on end. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, causing the air to distort. The surrounding people were all shocked. A huge picture scroll appeared above Lu Boming's head. This picture scroll was more than 10 times clearer than before. The water element aura of heaven and earth rushed over crazily. With every breath, the water vapor entered Lu Boming's body through his pores. It was as if his body had become the source of all water, able to contain the power of hundreds of rivers. In the picture scroll above his head, every river was condensed from true essence. They were incomparably thick. Countless evil spirits seemed to be suppressed in this black river, containing a mysterious and strange power. The moment this picture scroll appeared, the surrounding temperature dropped by dozens of degrees. It was as if there were hundreds of air conditioners here. The surrounding people felt incomparably cold, constantly shivering. Enough, a dignified elite student is actually fighting in school. What a scandal! Suddenly, a white-bearded old man appeared in the distance. He was dressed in white. He descended from the sky and lightly pointed out with a finger. In an instant, Lu Boming was suppressed, and the Netherworld painting was completely broken. With a thud, he descended, his aura suppressing the world. He stood between Xiaoping and Lu Boming, stopping the fight. Chapter 561. Elder Huang. Greetings, Elder Huang. The elite students were shocked to see the old man appear. They lowered their heads and bowed. This was because Elder Huang was the manager of this training tower. His strength was unfathomable, and he had already reached the king realm. Who would dare to be presumptuous in front of such a big shot? Xiaoping also felt the abyss-like aura emanating from this elder. Compared to this old man, the city lord of West Wilderness City and the other grandmasters were not even worth mentioning. Even though he was much stronger now, if this old man wanted to kill him, it would only take a flick of his finger. Elder Huang, seeing this old man appear, the arrogant Lu Boming immediately became respectful. He did not dare to have any disrespectful attitude towards this Elder Huang. Boming, you've gone too far by wantonly attacking someone in school. Elder Huang looked at Lu Boming indifferently. Seeing this, Xiaoping shouted, "That's right, Elder. You didn't see how fierce this guy was just now. He simply wanted to beat me to death. He's no different from a vicious criminal. He doesn't care about the school rules, as if he's the principal. If I didn't have some skills, I would have been beaten to death by him. This is clearly murder. I suggest that the school immediately arrest him and punish him severely. It would be best to expel him from Yinhuang University as a warning to others. Otherwise, the dignity of Yinhuang University's school rules will be gone." He fanned the flames at the side. What? The elite students at the side were dumbfounded. This kid was extremely vicious. It was obvious that he wanted to kick Lu Boming to death while the elder was here. If Elder Huang really listened to this villain's slander and expelled Lu Boming from Yinhuang University, Lu Boming's future would probably be ruined, and his martial arts state would be greatly affected. Moreover, without the countless resources of Yinhuang University, it would be at least 100 times more difficult for Lu Boming to advance to the king realm. This was basically trying to kill Lu Boming. Elder Huang. Lu Boming immediately became anxious. He looked at Xiaoping with eyes that were spewing fire. If his eyes could kill, he would have already cut Xiaoping into 1,000 pieces. What was a despicable person? He had seen it for himself. It was obvious that Xiaoping was a true despicable person. He was simply all-pervasive, taking advantage of every opportunity to accuse the guilty. His heart was vicious to the extreme. "Elder Huang something, don't try to claim kinship here," Xiaoping shouted. "Elder Huang is a selfless person. He will definitely judge fairly and strictly. Don't think that you can affect the elder's judgment with just a few words. So what if you have power and influence? Do you think you can override the rules of Yinhuang University? If I don't punish you harshly now to serve as a warning to others, in the future, if someone violates the Academy's rules again, won't they bend the law for personal gain? In the long run, who would still follow the school rules?" He put a big hat on Lu Boming, as if the entire Yinhuang University would fall apart if he didn't punish Lu Boming harshly and expel him from Yinhuang University. The corners of the elite students' mouths twitched. This fellow's mouth was simply vicious to the extreme. He could even turn a piece of white paper into black words. Lu Boming must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck to have provoked this bastard. "You." Lu Boming's face turned green. He wished he could sew Xiaoping's mouth shut. "You what you? You're not convinced? I knew you wanted to resist stubbornly. Fortunately, there are witnesses everywhere. Any one of them can testify to your evil deeds. You can't escape it all," Xiaoping said disdainfully. "Even if someone is too scared to come out to testify, because of your power, there are cameras everywhere. They've already recorded your actions just now. Witnesses and material evidence are all here. Do you think you can escape?" His face was full of righteousness, as if he had sentenced Lu Boming to death. His crime was unforgivable. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." Lu Boming was completely mad. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. The qigong in his body boiled, and he wanted to kill Xiaoping. Enough. At this moment, Elder Huang finally spoke. He glanced at the surrounding elite students. "Today's matter ends here. No more private fights are allowed. If anyone commits another offense, they will be expelled from Yinhuang University immediately." His tone was very calm, but contained an unquestionable tone. "Yes, Elder." The surrounding elite students nodded. Since Elder Huang said this matter was temporarily put aside. No one would pursue it. This was also a great fortune in misfortune. Lu Boming also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Elder Huang was perceptive and did not listen to this kid's vicious slander. Otherwise, if he was expelled from Yanhuan University, it would be even more unjust than Do Yi. Thinking of this, he glared at Xia Ping fiercely, his face dark. Kid, just you wait. Today is Yanhuan University. I can't do anything to you. But the genius battle is coming soon. At that time, there won't be anything like school rules, and life and death won't matter. I hope you won't be so scared that you'll retreat. He threw down these harsh words and turned to leave. Elder Huang, look at him. He actually dared to open his mouth and threaten me. He clearly hasn't given up. If I don't punish him severely, he won't know what's good for him. Xia Ping shouted loudly. I don't know how Yanhuan University recruits students. They actually let such a vicious person in. I don't know how much the school's moral standards have been lowered. Hearing this, Elder Huang was speechless. The corner of his mouth twitched. He had long heard that Xia Ping was a troublemaker who liked to cause trouble everywhere. He liked to be the first to complain. He was extremely thick-skinned. Seeing him today, he indeed lived up to his reputation. The elite students at the side all grimaced. Looking at this extremely thick-skinned Xia Ping, they could not compare to this be *starred in terms of moral standards. With your moral standards, you have the nerve to say such things. Do you have any shame? Be *starred. Lu Boming staggered. His face was as black as charcoal. He clenched his fists tightly, resisting the urge to kill Xia Ping. He knew that with Elder Huang here, it was impossible to kill Xia Ping. Therefore, he suppressed the anger in his heart and left without looking back. All right, don't stand here and watch. All of you leave, Elder Huang said in a low voice, dispersing the elite students. Yes, Elder. Seeing that there was no good show to watch, the group of elite students left one after another. As for those who were injured, they supported each other and headed to the nearby hospital for treatment. They could be considered the unluckiest ones. They were clearly beaten up by Xia Ping, but they did not receive any compensation. Moreover, that *starred Xia Ping was still alive and kicking. Chapter 562. The conflict between Xia Ping and the elite students, as well as his fight with Lu Boming, quickly blew up the forum of Yanhuan University and was known by countless students. Even the fact that Xia Ping had cheated the elite students of a large sum of money and earned more than 10 million points was dug out. It immediately caused an uproar among countless students, and everyone was jealous. Oh my God, this kind of method is simply like turning one's hand to summon clouds and turning one's hand to summon rain. To think that he could even think of this. Just how dark is his heart? A student shouted. This kind of technique was too exquisite, and the layout was too deep. If he was at the scene, he wouldn't know what had happened. He would probably have been sold by Xia Ping and still foolishly helped him count the money. That bastard has entered the wrong profession. If he didn't become a warrior, but a businessman, he would have been the richest man in the world. Someone sighed. This kind of method of hype was applicable everywhere. In just a few weeks, he had turned more than 2 million points into more than 10 million points. This was simply the magic of money. This was not something that anyone could do. Most people could only put their money in the bank and earn negligible interest. They couldn't use their money to make money at all. Rich as my ass. It's clearly a scam. If he really becomes a businessman, who knows how many people's hard-earned money will be exploited and many people will work for him for free. Someone gritted his teeth. This was because he was the one who had been cheated by Xia Ping. Because of this hype, he was greedy and took over at high price. In the end, he was hit hard by the school and lost more than 90% of his wealth. One could imagine how much he hated Xia Ping now. He even had the heart to eat Xia Ping's flesh and blood. If it wasn't for this kid, he would still be an honest person who earned points steadily. He wouldn't have touched this kind of devilish business. In the end, he fell and suffered heavy losses. Years of savings had vanished into thin air in a single day. That's right, this kid is extremely black-hearted. Everyone has to be wary of this bastard's every move. Don't be fooled by him. We are a lesson from the mistakes of our predecessors. This time, we lost hundreds of thousands of points, and all of them went down the drain without a sound. In short, I'll remember this bastard this time. I've lost so many points. I'll just treat it as feeding the dogs. If he can cheat me of another cent, I'll go eat shit. A group of elite students cried tears of blood, bitterly complaining about Xiaoping, this black-hearted businessman. At the same time, they used their own personal experiences to warn everyone not to be tricked by Xiaoping again. This was a good example. If it wasn't for the fact that this was Yinhuang University, where private fights were not allowed, they would have come to cause trouble and beat Xiaoping up. Damn it! He even earned more than 10 million points. Why doesn't he go to heaven? We work hard to complete missions from 9 to 5, diligently and diligently, but we can only earn 40 to 50,000 points every year. If we want to earn more than 10 million points, it will take us 200 years. This is too unfair. We have to earn 200 years worth of money, but he earned it in a few weeks. How can he earn it so easily? Is it reasonable? A dog's meat stinks in a luxurious house, but there are frozen bones on the road. You can imagine how evil these rich people are. Looks like it's time for a revolution. We'll beat up the local tyrants and divide the land. Just wait, this bastard will get into trouble sooner or later. I'll wait for him to be punished by the federal law. Many of the students felt the same way, and all of them felt that it was unfair. Why was this kid able to earn more than 10 million points so easily, while they could only do hard labor and struggle on the poverty line every day, unable to make ends meet? Some people had dark hearts and cursed Xiaoping to suffer sooner or later, to be arrested by the police and put in prison for decades. Hearing these words, Feng Hetong and the others also jumped out and shouted, "A group of stray dogs are barking here for what? You can't make money yourself, but you have to blame others for having the ability to make money? That's right, that's right. My big brother makes money here clearly. He cheats neither the old nor the young. There's nothing illegal about it. What's wrong with making money within the legal scope? If you're not convinced, you can also make money and see if you can succeed. You can brag on the internet, but if you really do it, you're nothing. This is Jiang Taigong fishing. Those who are willing will take the bait. If you don't want to, who will force you? That's right. You're stupid, but you still have to blame others for being too smart. Do you think that's appropriate? You're too greedy. If you weren't greedy, you wouldn't have ended up like this. You should reflect on yourselves." The people from Pingtian's sect also came out to clamor, mocking this group of people. What? Hearing these words, those students were so angry that their faces turned green. They had already lost so much money and were in a bad mood, but they didn't expect to be mocked by others, saying that they were too greedy and too stupid. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't have been fooled at all. The most annoying thing was that it actually sounded very reasonable, and they couldn't refute it. What's wrong? You can't refute it, right? You want to fight with my big brother with that little bit of intelligence? You don't know what's good for you. In the future, if you follow my big brother, you'll have meat to eat. Otherwise, you can only eat sh*t. Feng Hetong was proud of himself. The group of elite students were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. If it wasn't for the screen, they would definitely ask someone to beat this damn fatty to death. They had never seen such an infuriating bastard. Damn it, this Pingtian sect is simply a tumor of Yinhuang University. They're a nest of snakes and rats. They're practically a nest of snakes and rats. Ever since Pingtian's sect appeared in the school, it's simply a foul atmosphere. Isn't that so? These people like to group up and bully others with numbers. They're simply shameless to the extreme. Previously, a group of us went to the Silver Flower Valley in the north to kill wild beasts and obtain points. We didn't expect to encounter people from Pingtian's sect, and in the end, we were beaten up by them and chased away. They said they wanted to reserve the entire place. Reserve their grandpa. That's the Silver Flower Valley, a public resource. Others who don't know might think it's the Pingtian sect's property. They can even reserve the entire place. I heard they even want to collect protection fees. If we want to live in the school peacefully in the future, we must give them points. They want to collect protection fees? Why can't they just go to heaven? Isn't this a gang? Just wait and see. The school will ban this illegal organization sooner or later. The group of students gritted their teeth, all complaining about the evil Pingtian sect. Some of them had been persecuted by the Pingtian sect and suffered heavy losses. However, the Pingtian sect had the advantage in numbers, and, they were no match for them at all. They could only swallow their anger. At this time, Xiaoping was completely unaware of the storm outside. He had already entered the training tower's gravity room, sat down cross-legged, and began to cultivate. This was the most crucial moment. There were many water moon grass and energy stones placed around him. They had all been refined by Xiaoping, and the air was filled with dense, pure energy. Chapter 563. Rumble. Under the tenfold gravity, Xiaoping could feel that the speed at which he circulated his true energy was 10 times slower than usual. Even his lungs and other parts of his body were under immense pressure. As of this moment, he could sense every inch of muscle, every bone, and every meridian in his body being damaged by his energy arts. It was almost as if he had been struck in the chest by a powerful expert and was suffering grievous injuries. But the gravity chamber was filled with pure yang medicinal qi. Through his pores, it seeped into every corner of his body, constantly repairing and reforming his damaged body parts, causing his body to become even stronger. Damaged, repaired, damaged, repaired. After repeating this process, Xiaoping could feel that his body had been greatly tempered, and his strength had also increased greatly. And because of this, his body's potential was also greatly developed, unearthing the energy in the depths of his body. This is the time. After an unknown period of time, Xiaoping absorbed the energy stones, the water moon grass, the pure yang medicinal qi, and other energies, fusing them into his body. After being refined by the sun furnace, they were rapidly converted into true energy in his body. When the amount of true energy reached the limit, he felt his meridians and dantian swelling up. It was as if the mountains and rivers could no longer contain so much water, and a new river had to be opened up. Boom. At this moment, when he reached the peak, Xiaoping circulated the pure yang immortal art. Large amounts of true energy instantly gushed out from the depths of his dantian, like lava, splashing out. His 108,000 pores all emitted strands of flames, and the illusory image of a golden crow of hell seemed to condense behind him. It was currently spreading its wings and roaring towards the sky. When these flames landed on the ground, they immediately burned out many holes, giving off sizzling sounds, as if the ground was being burned into lava. The temperature of the gravity chamber also rose rapidly, and large amounts of white mist filled the air. If people outside saw this, they would think that Xiaoping was in a sauna. Boom. When Xiaoping's essence, qi, and spirit reached the peak, he circulated his qigong and broke through the 61st meridian. It was like a flood, instantly breaking through his meridians. Large amounts of true energy flowed around his meridians. The true energy in each meridian was like a flood dragon, rumbling and flowing, containing explosive power. Every inch of his muscles swelled up at this moment. Sixth layer, Martial Master. Xiaoping knew that he had now truly broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of Martial Master. 61 meridians in his body had opened up, forming 5 quintessential essence circulations that resonated with each other. This was the peak of the intermediate Martial Master realm. It could be said that he was just one step away from breaking through to the advanced Martial Master realm. I've finally advanced to the 6th heaven of Martial Master. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He felt that his quintessential essence had become much stronger. It was not something that a Martial Master at the 5th layer could compare to. Every move he made contained terrifying power. As his Zhen Yuan increased, 2 or 3 Hell Golden Crow cells also awakened. They were quickly refined by his Zhen Yuan and thoroughly integrated into every corner of his body, seeping into every cell. At this moment, his skin seemed to have turned into a light golden color, as if it was covered in a layer of gold. There seemed to be a picture of a golden crow of hell faintly appearing on his back. It was extremely mysterious. This was not just a vision. In fact, the defensive power of his body had also been greatly improved. Even if he did not run the Northern Dark Body Protection technique with the defensive power of his skin, ordinary swords cutting on his body were like hitting steel, clanging sounds, bursting out sparks, and could not hurt him at all. This feeling? Xiaoping ran the pure yang, immortal incantation. His qigong slowly ran. The hell golden crow cells in his body vibrated. Wisps of flames wandered around his body and finally appeared in one of his eyes. Suddenly, he felt that his left eye seemed to be burning with a trace of pain, as if it was about to be completely melted by this ball of flame. But soon this pain disappeared. Replacing it was an incomparably cool feeling, as if this ball of flame had integrated into the depths of his pupil and become one. At this moment, Xiaoping rubbed his eyes. He suddenly found that his left eye had undergone a huge change. It was as if there was a rune spinning in the depths of his pupil. Once he concentrated, his left eye seemed to shoot out a transparent light. At this moment, the dust on the ground actually became huge, as if it was an ordinary stone. Looking into the distance of a few hundred meters had become as short as 2 or 3 meters. At this moment, the smooth wall seemed to have become uneven in the eyes of his left eye. He found that there were many particles on the wall. When Xiaoping penetrated the qigong in his body and activated a mysterious power, he found that he could penetrate the wall and see the appearance of another gravity room. But soon Xiaoping cried out. He found that his left eye was being burned by the flame, causing intense pain. He fell to the ground in an instant, and this phenomenon quickly disappeared. He also fell to the ground, gasping for breath. He had used up a lot of energy. At this moment, all the muscles in his body seemed to be twitching. But Xiaoping was extremely excited. "System, what is this thing?" Xiaoping immediately asked. The system said, "Congratulations, host." As the golden crow of hell's bloodline slowly fuses, the various abilities of the golden crow of hell will also appear on the host. This should be the golden crow of hell's eye. Now, the left eye has begun to awaken. Golden crow of hell's eye. Hearing this, Xiaoping was extremely excited. He clenched his fists, feeling the terrifying power contained in his body. He was slowly beginning to feel the terror of the golden crow of hell's bloodline. The golden crow of hell's eye seemed to be extremely terrifying. Although it had not completely awakened, only a portion of its abilities had appeared. It seemed to have long-range vision, X-ray vision, and other abilities. His dynamic vision was at least 10 times stronger than before. This was simply an extraordinary physique. Before, he had also fought against Niezhen, who had the three-eyed wolf's bloodline. Once Niezhen opened his third eye, his strength increased by several times, and he had the power to predict the enemy's moves. If it was completely awakened, his golden crow of hell's eye would definitely not be inferior to this third eye, and might even be more terrifying. Host must be warned, because the golden crow of hell's bloodline is too terrifying. If the host uses this ability too much, the host's body will not be able to bear it, and his body and soul will completely collapse, the system warned. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He also knew this. Just now, when he tried to use the immature left eye, it caused the energy in his body to increase, and he almost fainted on the ground. It seemed like the only way was to continue awakening the golden crow of hell's cells and completely condense the left eye. Only then would he be able to use this ability at will. Chapter 564. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5 million hatred points. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Xiaoping stroked his chin. To be able to obtain 5 million hatred points, it seemed that his actions this time had angered many elite students, but he didn't care much. Anyway, this group of people didn't have a good relationship with him. Beep beep. At this time, Xiaoping's communicator rang. It was Liang Quan, the director of the giant company. Seeing this call, he immediately knew that the matter of him asking the giant company to dispose of the stolen goods had been completed. It had taken more than a month until now. As soon as he picked up, he heard Liang Quan's words. "Xiaoping, the things you asked us to sell have been completely sold. We obtained a total of 570 billion federal coins. I'll transfer it to you later." 570 billion federal coins? Hearing this, Xiaoping clenched his fists, feeling extremely excited. This was simply an astronomical figure. Ordinary people didn't know how long it would take to earn this amount of money. No, even if it was a king family, It wouldn't be easy for them to earn more than 500 billion federal coins. But now that he had obtained it all at once, it was like getting rich overnight. Of course, the risk was also great. If it wasn't for the many secret treasures on him that allowed him to enter and exit the Monster King's territory at will, it would have been impossible for him to succeed. Once his whereabouts were revealed, he would probably die. But the result was still good. He obtained a large number of treasures from the Silver Flood Dragon King, and also a large amount of money. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. This proved this point. TSK, I really didn't expect that. Where did you get so many resources? Liang Quan, the director, praised, you earned more than 100 billion federal coins before, and now it's even more terrifying. You earn more than 500 billion federal coins. And the things I got are all in short supply. I don't have to worry about selling them at all. He admired Xiaoping from the bottom of his heart. He had no idea where Xiaoping had gotten so many resources from. This is a secret. Xiaoping smiled slightly and didn't explain at all. Could it be that all these things were obtained from the Silver Flood Dragon King? Once it was leaked out, it would probably cause a huge commotion. Liang Quan didn't mind. If it was him, he wouldn't casually reveal this secret if he could earn a huge sum of money. Also, Xiaoping was a member of the giant company and was a genius that had gained the attention of the higher-ups. There was basically no way to force him. Since Xiaoping didn't want to talk about it, he didn't want to delve into it. He said, "What do you plan to do with the money?" He was curious. "I don't have any plans for now." Xiaoping couldn't think of what he wanted to do with the money, but it didn't matter. The money was here, and there would always be a time when he needed it. Even if he didn't need it now, he would definitely be able to use it once his cultivation was higher and he advanced into the Grandmaster realm or even the King realm. If you have more money, maybe you could try to buy a super battleship, Liang Quan suggested. Super warship? Hearing this, Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Yes, a super battleship, Liang Quan said in a deep voice. A spaceship of this level is many times stronger than ordinary spaceships. Most importantly, its technology has transcended generations, and it has the ability to jump through space. Jump through space. Hearing this, Xiaoping was surprised. He had also heard that the military's battleships had a similar function. They could ignore space distance and appear in other places at will. But that was the military's top secret, and it couldn't be used by civilians. Yes, a super battleship is so powerful. As long as it has enough energy, it can jump to almost any place in the sky realm. Liang Quan said, "Once you have such a battleship, it only takes a few seconds to cross tens of thousands of kilometers, and it is many times faster than ordinary private spaceships." More than that, Xiaoping clenched his fists. With the function of jumping through space, such a speed was faster than the speed of light. It could ignore space, distance, and weather. It was simply the crystallization of technology. Moreover, a super battleship's weapons are also extremely powerful. They are dozens or even hundreds of times stronger than ordinary spaceships, Liang Quan said expectantly. If it is fully activated, it can even kill a king. But there is no doubt that the price is also extremely high. A super battleship like this costs at least 5 trillion federal coins, and the materials consumed are simply astronomical. And if you want to buy it, you must advance into the Grandmaster realm. Otherwise, you won't be qualified. 5 trillion federal coins. The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. Such a number was simply beyond his imagination. The inflation had reached an exaggerated level. It could be said that even an ordinary king family could only afford one if they spent all their fortune. The problem was, which king family would be so stupid as to spend all their fortune just to buy such a super battleship? Most likely, only a few super forces and extremely powerful kings would have the right to purchase them. It was no longer as simple as a luxury toy. But it's not impossible. Xiaoping touched his chin. If I want to earn 5 trillion federal coins, I just need to rob 10 rich demon kings and plunder all their wealth. A dangerous light flashed in his eyes as he thought of all kinds of plans. Xiaoping, don't tell me you really want to buy one? I was just joking. Seeing Xiaoping in deep thought, Liang Quan was a little confused. This kid couldn't have taken his words seriously, right? To be honest, although Xiaoping made a lot of money, it was simply impossible for him to earn 5 trillion. This number was already equivalent to a year's financial budget of several cities. Even the richest man in the world would have to spend all his fortune to take out this amount of money. Xiaoping was now a martial master. Generally speaking, if a warrior of this level wanted to earn 5 trillion, even if he didn't eat, drink, cultivate, or have a girlfriend, it would still take him thousands of years. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy it if I have it. Xiaoping smiled and said ambiguously. Liang Quan was completely convinced. This kid was really tempted to buy it. But this guy was clearly an ordinary person with no family background. Why was he richer than the second generation of the King families? This was too unreasonable. All right, I won't say anything more. Liang Quan looked at Xiaoping and said, in 2 or 3 weeks, it will be the battle of geniuses. How are your preparations? I don't know. I'll do my best. Xiaoping clenched his fists and was very confident. Liang Quan smiled. You seem very confident, but this is for the best. If you get a good result in the battle of geniuses, I believe the higher-ups of the company will also have a high evaluation of you. When the time comes, you will probably get a lot of benefits. I look forward to your performance. After saying this, he hung up the phone. Xiaoping also sat cross-legged on the ground and continued to cultivate, consolidating his cultivation and familiarizing himself with his increased strength, speed, and the infernal golden crow's eye that he had just obtained. While Xiaoping was cultivating, time flew by, and in a flash, 3 weeks had passed. Chapter 565. Beep beep. While Xiaoping was cultivating in seclusion in his villa, his communication device suddenly rang. A virtual screen immediately popped up. The genius battle is about to begin. Elite students, please gather at the Training Towers Plaza. Whoosh! Xiaoping's eyes lit up when he saw this. He couldn't help but clench his fists. After waiting for so long, the genius battle was finally about to begin. After a few weeks of cultivation, he had not only completely consolidated his cultivation of the 6th heaven of martial master, but he had also refined the water moon grass, energy stones, and other treasures. He had broken through 5 or 6 meridians, greatly increasing the true essence in his body. If he was given a little more time, it would be easy for him to break through to the 7th heaven of martial master. Once he stepped into the advanced martial master realm, he wouldn't be far from being invincible in the martial master realm. It wouldn't be impossible for him to come out on top in the genius battle. He had even awakened a few golden crow cells in his body, greatly fusing with the golden crow bloodline. His left eye had also undergone earth-shaking changes. If he could go one step further, his left eye would be completely formed. If he had the golden crow eye of hell, his strength would definitely increase by several times. Soon, Xiaoping tidied up his clothes and left the villa for the plaza in front of the training tower. At this time, countless elite students came from all directions. They almost filled the plaza. There seemed to be at least 20 or 30,000 people. All of them were martial masters, so powerful. Xiaoping could feel the aura of these elite students. They were all extraordinary and had experienced hundreds of battles. Some of them usually trained outside and fought with monsters. Some of them hid in some cave abode and cultivated peacefully. Some of them usually kept a low profile and never liked to show their faces. At this time, because of the genius battle, they all came out. These were the real elites among the elite students. There were even a lot of experts at the peak of the 9th heaven of martial master realm. They stood out among this group of students and were considered to be strong candidates for the champion of this genius battle. However, Xiaoping's appearance here immediately attracted the attention of many elite students because he had already become famous in the entire Yanhuang University. He was in the limelight, and everyone knew about him. This kid is Xiaoping? He looks ordinary, but I didn't expect him to accomplish so many things. You stirred up trouble as soon as you entered Yanhuang University. You trampled on 100 great societies, killed the Wind Chaser bandits, annihilated the lawless gang, and slaughtered the Black Scorpion King's son, Scorpion 13. Recently, you've even swindled quite a few elite students of their money. It is said that even Liu Boming was defeated by him and suffered a loss. Some people say that he was so angry that he went crazy and swore to get revenge. TSK, one incredible junior. Could it be that he also wants to be the champion in this genius battle? How is this possible? It is said that he is only a fifth heaven martial master. Even if he is a demonic genius, he will not be able to stand out in the genius battle where experts are as numerous as the clouds. If he meets an expert at the peak of the martial master realm, he will immediately lose. Indeed, his future lies in the years to come. Right now, he's still too far away. To be honest, he's only here to gain experience. I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder what kind of trouble this monster will cause in a few years. By that time, we'll have already graduated. Let other people worry about it. Many elite students looked at Xiaoping. They had also heard of this troublemaker, but they didn't think that Xiaoping would be able to cause any more trouble in the genius battle. Indeed, this kid caused a lot of trouble. However, the genius battle was a competition of martial strength. Without sufficient strength, even if he had some tricks, he would not be able to show off. Right now, Xiaoping was still too inexperienced. Compared to the geniuses who had been cultivating for many years, he was still too far away. It seems that many people are looking down on me. That's good. The more people that look down on me, the better. That way, it will be easier for me to shock the world. Xiaoping clenched his fists and said nothing. He was looking forward to the start of the genius battle. Boom! At this moment, a huge battleship flew in the sky. It covered the sky and arrived above the square. Its ferocious cannons were exposed. One shot from this cannon was powerful enough to destroy a mountain. With a swoosh, a gray-robed elder immediately flew out from the battleship. He floated in the air and looked down like a god. With his body as the center, he emitted a horrifying aura that enveloped the entire square. All the students present were shocked. They felt as if a mountain had descended on their bodies. It was even more horrifying than when they were in the 10x gravity room. The pressure made their bones crackle, and even the circulation of their true yuan seemed to be stagnant. The ground was unable to withstand the pressure, and crackling sounds could be heard as cracks appeared on ground. King. This was definitely an invincible king. Xiaoping stared at the gray-robed elder. He could feel that this gray-robed elder's horrifying strength was definitely beyond anyone he had ever seen. Even among the king level, he was probably one of the strongest. Vice Headmaster Lu Shuwen. This is an invincible king. Some elite students immediately recognized him. It can't be. It's such an honor to see Headmaster Lu here. It's said that he's been alive since the Great Calamity, with a lifespan of over 1,000 years. He's experienced countless battles of life and death between the human race and the demon race, killing who knows how many kings. He's a true old monster, and even the president of the Federation is respectful towards him. During the college entrance exam, Headmaster Lu's question appeared in the history question. I remember memorizing it for a long time. We are so lucky. Normally, such a powerful warrior would be in seclusion. I didn't expect that even Headmaster Lu would appear for the Battle of Geniuses. He is a legendary figure. I wonder if the Headmaster will appear. It's said that the Headmaster is an even more horrifying warrior. Some say that his strength has surpassed the king level and reached an unimaginable level. The Headmaster is a mysterious figure. He is a top figure of the human race. He won't appear in a mere battle of geniuses. If he wants to appear, it would probably be a crisis of the entire race. Many elite students looked at the gray-robed elder with fanaticism. Seeing such a figure that would only appear in history books, they were all shocked and unable to control their emotions. Headmaster Lu, all the elite students are here. A few teachers below the square shouted. Well, since everyone is here, let's go. The gray-robed elder Lu Shuwen nodded and waved his hand. Boom! The huge battleship shook and immediately erupted with a ball of energy. It instantly engulfed the countless students on the square. In the next second, the ball of energy took all the elite students away and sucked them into the battleship. What? Xiaoping was in a daze. He found that in just a second, he had disappeared from the square and appeared in the seats of the battleship. The other elite students also sat in their seats neatly. Chapter 566. Inside the battleship. Beep. Just as Xiaoping and the others took their seats, an email was sent to each of their communicators. Rules of the Genius Tournament. Many people clicked on the email and immediately saw the title. "We're going to the Sun Moon City this time," someone exclaimed after reading the contents of the email. Sun Moon City. Xiaoping knew that this was the largest combat city in the Cloud Realm. It had built many combat arenas and usually hosted a large number of combat competitions, such as the Grandmaster Battle and even the Battle of the Kings, all held in this place. This city was also one of the most famous cities in the Cloud Realm. Many warriors would come to this city to find various experts to duel and increase their martial arts experience. The venue of the Genius Tournament was also chosen to be in this city. There are a total of 2 rounds in the Genius Tournament. Someone continued reading the email. The first round is the preliminaries. There are a total of 1 million people who signed up. After the preliminaries, only 10,000 people will qualify. The geniuses who qualify are qualified to enter the celestial demon battlefield. Many people were shocked after reading the content. As long as they passed the first round of preliminaries, they would be qualified to enter the celestial demon battlefield. This was too easy. An elite student sneered. "Do you think it's easy? Everyone who can participate in the Genius Tournament is a genius? They are all monsters who advance to the Martial Master realm before the age of 30. There are 1 million people like that, but only 10,000 people can pass the preliminaries. This is practically 1 in 100. Don't you think it's difficult?" Many people nodded. They were originally elites who had been selected. Now that they had entered the preliminaries, they would be screened again. Those who could pass the preliminaries were probably local geniuses. Xiaoping also saw the preliminaries. It was a survival battle. The battlefield would be set in Sun Moon City. 1 million participants would be distributed in 10 regions. Each region was a human city that could accommodate millions of people. In other words, each region would have 100,000 participants. The preliminaries would last for a week. If you want to pass the preliminaries, you have to earn points. Everyone starts with 1 point. As long as you defeat your opponent, you can get all their points. If you lose, your points will be halved. Only 1,000 people from each region can advance. In other words, 99,000 people must be eliminated. What a cruel elimination tournament. This is a battlefield of slaughter. If anyone wants to advance, they must kill each other. It can't be. If that's the case, won't many people die? No, the Sun Moon City has the most advanced technology of mankind, and it can simulate a martial arts battlefield. The entire competition area was surrounded by energy, and all the buildings were simulated by energy. If a contestant's life is in danger, they will be saved immediately. Even so, serious injuries are inevitable. Many elite students sighed. Just the preliminaries alone had made them feel incomparably cruel. Those who could pass the preliminaries were all outstanding talents, elites of humanity. "Amazing," a student shouted. "The school has also sent an email saying that if you can pass the preliminaries and enter the top 1,000, the school will reward you with 500,000 points. If you enter the top 100, you'll get 1,000,000 points. If you enter the top 10, you'll get 50 million points. If you get first place, you'll get 10 million points." Hearing this, the crowd was in an uproar. This time, the school was really going all out. As long as you passed the preliminaries, you'd get 500,000 points. If you got first place, you'd get 10 million points. That was an astronomical number. If they could get first place, they wouldn't have to go out on missions for several years. All they had to do was cultivate in peace. If I can get first place, I'll be rich. That's 10 million points. I can even exchange for a king-class high-grade qigong. It's fine even if you eat one or throw one away. Someone sighed. In your dreams, even the strongest elite students in our school can't say they can get first place. That's right. Other than the 4 super schools, Aries College, Black and White Academy, Tianchi University, and Yanhuang University, there are even some secret weapons nurtured by the King families. Some of the King family's disciples will also be participating. None of these people lose out to the elite students of our Yanhuang University. Many people snorted. It wasn't easy to get first place. There were many strong people in this world. Someone immediately said, "Even those who can't become elite students can't be underestimated." It's said that there's someone called Xiao. He's a student of Aries College. He couldn't become an elite student during his time in university, so he graduated looking ordinary. But who would have thought that after he graduated, he went on an adventure and accidentally fell into the 10,000 dragon pool. He bathed in dragon blood and was reborn, becoming a peerless genius. After that, he killed his way through, rising to the peak of martial master in just a few years. His battle power is unparalleled, and he was even recruited as a core member of the Aurora Corporation. He's one of the hot favorites to win this time's genius competition. Bathed in dragon blood, the group of elite students was very jealous. To be able to come out alive after bathing in dragon blood was a great opportunity. It was a life-changing experience. Even the descendants of kings couldn't compare to this kind of genius. No. Although Xiao is strong, how can he compare to Feng Xiaodao? Someone sneered. He's from the Feng family, a direct descendant of the Feng family. He's the most outstanding genius in 100 years. He was bathed in the blood of the immortal phoenix when he was born. His body has a trace of the immortal phoenix's characteristics, and his bloodline has been activated. He also cultivates a peerless king-class qigong, the Phoenix Sutra. His battle power is invincible. He's a strong candidate to win this time's championship. Immortal Phoenix blood. Hearing this, everyone's eyes turned green. The Feng family was indeed worthy of being called a king family. They were really rich to be able to take out such a treasure and raise it from infancy. How could they compare? From a very beginning, he had never stood on the same starting point as them. Although Feng Xiaodao is very strong, I don't think the strongest person in our Yanhuang University, by Qingqing, is any weaker than them. Someone said she has the Azure Phoenix bloodline, and it has been completely activated. She has the 7 orifices exquisite body and 7 Dantian seas of qi. Just the power of her true essence is at least 7 times that of others. Who could be her match? 7 Dantian seas of qi. The surrounding people were completely dumbfounded. Ordinary people only had 1 Dantian sea of qi, which was the center of a human body. It was responsible for refining the world's spirit energy and absorbing medicinal power. Without a Dantian sea of qi, it was impossible to cultivate. However, Bai Qingqing had 7 Dantian seas of qi. She could absorb the world's spirit energy and refine medicinal power at least 7 times faster than ordinary people. Chapter 567. Amazing. Xiaoping clenched his fists. This information was an eye-opener for him. He didn't expect there to be more powerful cultivators in the world than he had imagined. Aside from Xiao, Bai Qingqing, and Feng Xiaodao, there were many other strong competitors. For example, Lu Chao had the bloodline of the King Kong demon ape. After activating it, he had an indestructible body. Even if a sword or saber hit him, he would be unscathed. Rumor had it that he had once fought against someone who had just entered the Grandmaster realm. He had withstood 100 moves and was defeated because his true essence was exhausted. Some said that his defense was the strongest among the elite students. Even Feng Xiaodao, who was bathed in the blood of the immortal phoenix, might not be able to break through his defense. Lian Jingshun had the mermaid bloodline and was born with the ability to control water. Once he entered the sea, he was invincible and could set off storms. Even on land, there were very few who could defeat him. There was also the Earth Hero, who had the Earth Dragon bloodline and was born with the ability to control the Earth element. He had the power to move mountains and seas. It was said that as long as he stood on the ground, he would not be defeated. There were so many experts like this that they were innumerable. Damn, looks like we can forget about getting first. It would be good enough if we can pass the preliminaries. Isn't that right? All of them either have the bloodline of a king or had a great encounter. There's no justice in this world. Indeed, there's no way for us ordinary people to survive. There's no hope for this genius battle. We can only get the right to enter the Sky Demon battlefield. Maybe there's a chance to turn things around. Many elite students felt very helpless. Even if they were at the same cultivation level, they would not be a match for so many geniuses. Boom! The warship quickly flew towards Sun Moon City. At the same time, other places were shocked by the genius battle that had swept across the entire Cloud Realm. Ares College must get first in this genius battle. Try to get as many spots as possible in the top 1,000. It's best if we can get all of the top 10. A teacher from Ares College roared. Yes, let the people from the other schools eat sh*t. Many of the elite students of Ares College roared. Their morale was high. Previously, our Black-White Academy's ranking wasn't very ideal. This time, we have to fight for the Academy's honor. Otherwise, when you guys come back, double the training. Train until you vomit blood. Do you hear me? The teachers of the Black-White Academy were also mobilizing the students before the battle. Yes, teacher. This time, our Black-White Academy will definitely defeat the other academies and obtain first place. A group of elite students from the Black-White Academy shouted, their eyes burning with fire. The first place belongs to our Heavenly Deity University. Without the first place, we are nothing. You are all heavenly deities, supreme gods. Anyone who obstructs your path will be annihilated. The teacher from Heavenly Deity University had a grave and stern expression, his killing intent soaring. I know, teacher. It's only natural to get first place. No one can stop our Tianqian University. A group of elite students from Heavenly Deity University had cold and aloof gazes, as though they didn't place anyone in their eyes. At this time, the members of the various sovereign clans also moved out. This genius battle is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's right, if I can show my face in the battle of geniuses, this will be my chance to stand out. It's said that the champion of the genius battle will receive a great reward from the sovereign clan. It's definitely a chance to get first place. You must also obtain the right to enter the heavenly demonic battlefield. There are countless supreme treasures there, which are of great benefit to our clans. You must pass the preliminaries. If you can pass the preliminaries, you will immediately become the focus of the clan's nurturing and stand out. Many sovereign clans promised their descendants that as long as they could pass the preliminaries and obtain the opportunity to enter the heavenly demonic battlefield, the clan would definitely reward them handsomely. If they could get into the top 100 or even the top 10, they would be nurtured as the future clan leader and would be able to wield supreme power. Some descendants clenched their fists tightly. They had waited for many years for this chance to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. Once they showed their faces in the genius battle, they would immediately soar into the sky, no matter how much they had been neglected by their clans. Once they performed outstandingly in the genius battle, they would immediately become the focus of the clan's nurturing and have a boundless future. In fact, in the previous genius battles, there had been many people who had suddenly erupted and attracted attention, and some had even been taken in as disciples by sovereign clans. This was a chance for them to leap over the Dragon's Gate. A few powerful martial arts organizations were also in discussion. I heard that the genius battle this time is no small matter. The previous ones are completely incomparable to this one. Many geniuses that are rarely seen in 100 years have appeared. It's simply an unparalleled grand occasion. This is the era of geniuses, where the geniuses will fight for supremacy. It's fine even if they aren't in the top 100. As long as they can pass the preliminaries, they're all monsters and will enter the various martial arts organizations. They will probably all become core members and hold great power. Isn't that so? Many of the big shots of the martial arts organizations have come from the genius battle. These people have boundless prospects. This is the best chance to recruit martial arts elites. We must keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on every outstanding martial artist. If we miss any one of them, we will suffer heavy losses. Everyone, keep your eyes peeled. Yes, boss. We will work in 3 shifts and follow them 24/7. We definitely won't miss a single one. The core elites of many martial arts organizations were in discussion. They were also keeping an eye on the genius battle this time, hoping to pick out martial arts elites to join their organizations. Those who were able to stand out in the genius battle would probably all become martial arts masters in the future. They might even become kings. If they could recruit one of them, the rewards would be unimaginable. It was not hard to imagine how much importance they placed on this genius battle. However, There was light and there was darkness in the world. Many beasts were also discussing in secret. Hee, the genius battle of the human race has begun again. Good start. This time, keep an eye on every human genius with potential and put them on the kill list of the beasts. Hee, if we kill all these human geniuses, it will be a great blow to the human race's military power. Even if we can't kill all of them, killing a few of them will be equivalent to killing a few future kings of the human race. It will be a great benefit for us beasts. We must weaken the power of the human race. The human race is developing too fast. Otherwise, the next war between the human race and the beast race will be a crushing defeat for us beasts. Of course, those human geniuses will die for sure. Chapter 568. Boom! After some time, Yinhuang University's battleship finally arrived at Sun Moon City. Apart from Yinhuang University's battleship, the battleships of other schools, the battleships of the King clans, and even the civilian spaceships all arrived one after another. The sky was extremely busy as people landed in this huge city. Welcome to Sun Moon City. The preliminaries are about to begin. In 30 seconds, you will be randomly teleported to 10 competition zones. Please pay attention and prepare in advance. As soon as they arrived at Sun Moon City, a mechanical voice sounded from the battleship. What? How can it be so fast? There's still 30 seconds left. Prepare in advance, my ass. This doesn't make sense. Why don't they rest for a night before starting? Many students were shocked. They hadn't even finished preparing. They didn't even have time to rest before the competition started. This was too fast. Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He felt that this might be a part of the competition. It was used to test the students' ability to adapt to crises. If they couldn't adapt immediately, they would be eliminated. Time passed quickly. The mechanical voice sounded again. About to be randomly teleported. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, teleport. Boom! As soon as the voice sounded, Xiaoping and the others who were still sitting on a battleship were immediately surrounded by a ball of energy. In the next second, they were instantly teleported away. All the participants who arrived at Sun Moon City instantly disappeared from their original positions. In the next second, in Sun Moon City, 1 million elite students landed in the 10 competition cities simulated by energy. They were evenly distributed to different competition zones. At this moment, the preliminaries of the Genius Battle began. The Genius Battle was a grand event for the entire human race. From the high and mighty kings to the ordinary people, they were all paying attention to this super event that was held once every few years. Especially the students from the various schools, the graduates, and even the families of the participants. They would all pay attention to this super event. This was an unprecedented grand event. There were also many surveillance cameras installed in Sim City, which could display the battle situation of each competition zone. Everyone could also follow the contestants they liked and bring up the surveillance footage. Whoosh! At this time, Xiaoping opened his eyes, and the energy wrapping his body disappeared. He immediately found himself in an ordinary room with 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. The room was filled with various types of weapons. Blades, swords, hammers, daggers, etc. All of them were made from steel and were incomparably sharp. Although they could not compare to prized artifacts, they could still be considered as high-grade weapons. These weapons were probably meant for the participants to use. Xiaoping glanced around and walked out to the balcony. Immediately, he saw rows upon rows of high-rise buildings and intersecting highways. It was like a bustling metropolis, but now it was very quiet, as if there were no signs of life. He immediately knew that the competition had just begun, and the others should still be familiarizing themselves with the environment. Bang! Before Xiaoping could finish observing the surrounding environment, the titanium alloy door of the room was suddenly split into 2 halves from the middle by a knife. Even the saber chi crisscrossed, causing more than a dozen cracks to appear on the marble floor. It was as if the entire room had been split in half by the saber, and the air was filled with a terrifying, murderous aura. Then, a 2-meter-tall, bald man walked in, holding a long saber in his hand. His face was ferocious, and he looked at Xiaoping as if he had seen a prey. He laughed cruelly and said, "You're really lucky. You actually found a prey in a random room. How pitiful, kid. The competition has just begun, and you're already going to be eliminated. Die for me. As soon as his voice fell, he clenched his long saber, and blue veins popped out. It was as if the air was being squeezed, and a terrifying saber chi burst out, slashing towards Xiaoping without mercy. Oof! Xiaoping snorted coldly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. This bald man was incomparably arrogant. He probably saw that Xiaoping was weak, and thought that Xiaoping was a fish that could be slaughtered at will. But he was wrong, very wrong. He was not facing a fish, but a ferocious tiger that would eat people. The qigong in Xiaoping's body revolved crazily, and a wave of power rose from his feet, along his muscles, bones, inch by inch, constantly accumulating power, and finally reaching his fist. He took a step forward and punched with his right fist, like a shark leaping out from the bottom of the sea, exploding with a fatal blow. Boom! The air exploded, and a thunderous sound erupted, immediately shattering the bald man's eardrums, and blood seeped out. Even the glass around the room was shattered. The fist force of this punch was incomparably terrifying, shattering everything. Xiaoping, who had advanced to the sixth heaven of martial master and refined even more infernal golden crow cells, was simply terrifying. It was unknown how much stronger he was before. Boom! The condensed, baleful saber chi in front of him was blown away by the punch. Even the fine steel saber could not withstand this vast power, and directly broke into more than a dozen pieces. With a few clangs, the broken iron fell to the ground, smashing a deep pit. How is this possible? The bald man was so scared that he peed his pants. His saber chi was blown away, and even the saber in his hand was shattered. He was wide open, and there was no way he could resist Xiaoping's ferocious punch. Boom! Just like that, his chest took a solid punch, and his whole body flew backward like a piece of paper, smashing through more than a dozen cement walls, and gravel flew everywhere. The terrifying force shook his body thousands of times, destroying his internal organs. With a beep, a voice rang out. Participant XXX is seriously injured, on the verge of death, disqualified. No, no, no. The bald man's face turned red, and he shouted with all his might, I'm an expert at the 8th heaven of martial master. Do you know the 8th heaven? How could I be defeated by a mere 6th heaven of martial master? Impossible. Such a thing definitely can't happen. I'm not seriously injured. Not seriously injured at all. It's all an illusion. All an illusion. He was simply crazy. Previously, he had been complacent, thinking that he could defeat everyone in the competition and obtain the right to participate in the first round or even enter the top 1,000. And to be honest, with his strength at the 8th heaven of martial master, he had the right to do so. However, who would have thought that he would meet a monster at the beginning? Clearly, Lin Fan was only a 6th heaven of martial master, and no matter how he looked at it, it was impossible for him to be a match for him. He had also thought that Lin Fan was a fat sheep, someone who would be eliminated at the beginning. However, Lin Fan destroyed him with one punch, and he had no strength to fight back. He had lost even more unjustly than Doi. However, no matter how he screamed or how unwilling he was, he could not change the outcome. Whoosh! Chapter 569. Holy SH *T. The competition has just begun, and someone has already been eliminated. It's too fast. I haven't even had time to sit down. Some spectators immediately noticed that someone had been eliminated from the preliminaries. It's Baldy Wong who was eliminated. Someone recognized the bald man, but his face showed a look of disbelief. But what's going on? Baldy Wong is an expert in the LV8 martial master realm. It's possible for him to enter the top 1,000. Now he was defeated by a guy in the LV6 martial master realm, and he was crippled with one punch. He was a little confused because he was very familiar with Baldy Wong and knew his strength. Baldy Wong's bladesmanship had reached the acme of perfection, and he could be called a bladesmanship master. He had thought that this guy could pass the preliminaries, but he didn't expect that he would be eliminated at the beginning. Moreover, the one who killed him was not an expert at the peak of the LV6 martial master realm. LV8 Martial Master Realm. So what? You should know that all the contestants are geniuses. Challenging people of a higher level is as easy as eating and drinking for them. You're a little ignorant. Someone sneered. That's right. Martial arts realm doesn't mean everything. Cultivation methods, martial arts techniques, experience, combat awareness, and so on. These are the key factors that make up one's combat strength. Although this bald man is strong, it's obvious that he met someone stronger than him. It's not a shame that he lost at the beginning. It's just that he's not strong enough. I guess he's not lucky either. After all, it's rare to meet a genius who can kill an opponent 2 levels above him. Many spectators were commenting. There were many experts in the Grandmaster realm among them, and they were very discerning. Naturally, they knew that the bald man was very strong, but unfortunately, his opponent was even stronger. In the arena. Well, it seems that I have one more point. Xiaoping turned on his communication device, and immediately a virtual screen popped out, showing his competition information. He had already obtained 1 point, which was obtained by killing the contestant just now. Only 1 point? That's still too little. After a while, maybe I can get more points by killing an enemy. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. According to the rules of the competition, the more enemies he killed, the more points he would get. Therefore, in the later stages of the competition, only the strong were left. Each of them must have killed an unknown number of opponents. When the time came, killing one of them would give them a lot of points. If I can find a safe place to recuperate and wait for the last day to strike and kill the experts, I'll probably be able to enter the top 1,000. Xiaoping also knew that many people would have the same thought. After all, even if it was an expert, if they were surrounded by 10, 100, or even 1,000 experts, they would inevitably be eliminated. At that time, it would be an injustice to lose. Unfortunately, I'm not an ordinary martial artist. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. If he was an ordinary person, he would also have the same idea. He would temporarily hide and wait for the enemy to exhaust himself to avoid being besieged. However, he felt that this was a great opportunity to spar with many experts, sharpen his martial arts cultivation, and stimulate his body's potential, helping him refine the boundless medicinal energy in his body. If he could break through to the 7th heaven of Martial Master during the competition and enter the superior Martial Master realm, his strength would increase greatly. Then, even if he entered the top 10, he would still have hope. Therefore, he wanted to maintain a high profile and challenge experts from all directions. Swoosh! Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately jumped from the balcony and landed under the garden in front of the residential building. At the same time, he spread out his mental energy, covering a radius of 1 kilometer. Who is it? How dare you use your mental energy to scan? Do you know how to spell the word death? How dare you? The vibration of mental energy immediately alarmed the surrounding martial artists. To martial artists, an undisguised mental energy scan was clearly a malicious provocation. After all, once their hiding place was discovered, they would face a calamity. Hence, upon sensing this unbridled mental power fluctuation, more than a dozen figures immediately jumped out of the residential building and surrounded Xiaoping, glaring at him fiercely. Xiaoping glanced around and found a total of 13 people walking out of the residential building. In addition, there were many martial artists hiding in the residential building, as if they were unwilling to show themselves. Perhaps these people were sitting on the mountain and watching the tigers fight. How dare you use your mental energy to scan? You're quite brave. This is a public provocation. Do you know what you're capable of? Immediately, 13 martial artists appeared and stared at Xiaoping. Their expressions were very unfriendly and murderous. I'm an elite student of Yanwang University. Yanwang University has been orthodox for thousands of years and is the strongest university in the Cloud Realm. If my identity was in ancient times, I would be a disciple of the Emperor. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and his nose in the air. You all jumped out one by one and behaved arrogantly. Why didn't you salute or greet me? Do you know what manners are? Don't you know the rules? Hurry up and kneel down to apologize. What? These martial artists all bared their teeth. Why did they have to salute and greet him just because he was a student of Yanwang University? What kind of bullsh asterisk T rule was this? They had never heard of it. Although Yanhuan University was powerful, it was not to the extent that every student who graduated from Yanhuan University was a disciple of the emperor. Moreover, he wanted them to kneel down and apologize. Who did this kid think he was? Without waiting for these people to answer, Xiaoping waved his hand and said carelessly, "Forget it. It's a waste of energy to talk to you uncultured bumpkins. I'm here to kill opponents and gain points. Line up one by one and report your names. I have a principle, and that is, I don't kill nameless people." "All right, which school are you from?" He pointed at the few sword-wielding martial artists in front of him. "I'm an elite student of Divine God University. I'm from Ares College. I'm from Black and White College." "Humph. You want to use your school to bully us? Dream on. Our school is not inferior to Yanhuan University. In fact, it seems to be surpassing them recently." Instantly, a few martial artists revealed arrogant expressions. Obviously, they were all very proud of their own schools. "They're all trash," Xiaoping concluded. "What Divine God University? Ares College? Don't think that just because you have a god in your name, you're really a god. You might be crazy, you know. As for Black and White College, I won't comment on them. They probably play Go." He casually commented on a few universities. "F***CKU? Who's the crazy one? How dare you insult Ares College? You even dare to insult Divine God University? How dare you? My Black and White College doesn't play Go. Don't confuse me." When the few martial artists heard this, they were all furious. They glared at Xiaoping. They could not tolerate this kid insulting their school. Chapter 570. Xiaoping didn't care about those people. He pointed to the others and asked, "What about you guys? What university did you come from? Tell me." "I came from Mafei University." "Confucian University." "I came from Ocean University." Although it's not as good as Yanhuan University, it's still considered a key school. It's 1 in a million to get in. "Every student is outstanding," several people said. But before he finished speaking, Xiaoping interrupted him. "Pick my ass. Garbage school. I've never heard of it. I don't know where it came from. You didn't get into Yanhuan University, and you still have the nerve to participate in the qualifiers. How can you be so thick-skinned?" But maybe this is the advantage of people from garbage schools. Thick skin. Maybe there's also an advantage called ignorance and fearlessness. Knowing that you'll be at the bottom, you still work hard to participate. The purpose is to highlight the strength of Yanhuan University. This is commendable. He was very emotional. A few people's faces turned green. Hearing their school being belittled and saying that they participated in the qualifiers because they were thick-skinned to highlight Yanhuan University, they couldn't wait to fight this starred. "You? Am I wrong? If you can't even get into Yanhuan University, what's the use of you?" Xiaoping reprimanded. "If I were you, I would have committed suicide in shame. People who can't get into Yanhuan University don't have the right to live in this world." Starred. This group of people gritted their teeth. Their lungs were about to explode. What kind of logic was this? Could it be that people who couldn't get into a first-class university didn't have a right to live? Those who got into a third-rate university, wouldn't they all have to commit suicide? "Kid, you're too presumptuous." A man in yellow jumped out and scolded Xiaoping. "Don't think that getting into Yanhuan University is a big deal. Don't think that you're a hero. Like me, a high school graduate, hard training, and many adventures, I'm still standing on the same stage as you guys. Don't look down on me." He glared at Xiaoping with a murderous look. He was not convinced by Xiaoping's words. "Illiterate, shut up immediately. Is this the place for you to speak?" Xiaoping said impatiently. "We, who have been admitted to the university, are talking. You, an illiterate high school graduate, are not qualified to speak. Do you have any shame?" "What?" The yellow-clothed man's face turned green. He had never been hit like this before. Although he had just graduated from high school, he was not illiterate. He could read. Furthermore, to be able to advance to the martial master realm before the age of 30, he would be considered a genius no matter where he was. Even if he was a general in the army, he would be qualified. Who would dare say that he was illiterate? "I am not illiterate. If you dare to talk nonsense here again, I will kill you." The yellow-robed man roared. "Illiterate, illiterate, illiterate. So what if you call me that? Xia Ping said disdainfully. He called out 3 times in a row. Faster, die. The yellow-clothed man was furious to the extreme. With a loud bang, he instantly brandished a large saber on his body and slashed towards Xia Ping. He displayed the cultivation of the 7th heaven of martial master. A saber light flashed in the air, containing an incomparable killing intent. It was as if even a small mountain would be split in half. Moreover, the speed of the blade light was extremely fast. It was so fast that it broke the sound barrier. This was the yellow-clothed man's specialty, the 36 quick saber technique. He had cultivated this saber technique to the extreme and had reached the acme of perfection. Enemies who fought with him often did not know what was going on. With a flash of the saber light, he would kill them. Their heads and bodies would be instantly split in half, drenched in blood. Scram! Xia Ping stood where he was and did not move at all. He let out an angry roar. King-level martial technique. Heavenly Dragon's music. With a loud bang, this angry roar was really like the roar of a heavenly dragon. The air condensed and the sound waves surged like rolling waves, attacking the yellow-clothed man's body. The glass within a 3-kilometer radius was shaken by the sound waves and shattered. The elite students nearby could not help but cover their ears. Even so, the sound waves made their blood boil, and they almost coughed up blood. The yellow-clothed man, who had taken the blow head-on, was even more miserable. The terrifying sound waves blasted over and instantly shattered his saber chi, then transmitted to his body. Dong! The yellow-clothed man let out a shrill scream. His body suffered thousands of shocks, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his eyes, mouth, nose, ears, and other parts of his body. With a swoosh, a white light flashed, and he disappeared. Obviously, he had been defeated and had been teleported out. Terrifying cracks appeared on the ground like spiderwebs, spreading over an area with a radius of 1 kilometer. What a powerful sound wave cultivation technique. It's too scary. How can this kid's genuine essence be so thick? He's only in the 6th level of the martial master realm. How can he be so terrifying? Seeing that Xia Ping had killed the yellow-clothed man with 1 move, the other martial artists' expressions changed greatly. They could feel the tyrannical battle strength of Xia Ping's body. They immediately knew that this kid was definitely not ordinary. He was not as simple as he seemed on the surface. I've already said that he's just an illiterate. How dare he attack an expert from Yanhuan University? Isn't he courting death? Xia Ping looked up to the sky and sighed. I hope he can learn his lesson in the future. When he meets a person of noble birth like me, he should turn around and run away. Maybe he can live a little longer this way. Kill him, a person shouted. He could not stand this kid for another second. Although he did not know the yellow-clothed man who had been killed, in this situation, he could be considered a temporary ally. But now that their ally had been killed, how could they endure it? With a loud shout, the others also attacked. Some of them were holding long swords, some were holding spears, and some were holding broadswords. They rushed over like lightning. Swish, swish, swish. A cold light burst out like a meteor. It was beautiful, but contained a fatal aura. The surrounding air trembled crazily, giving off a sharp, ear-piercing sound. More than 10 cold lights attacked together, erupting with a terrifying aura, covering Xia Ping's body in an instant. Die! Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. The qigong in his body circulated crazily, and he struck out with his palm. Immovable Buddha palm, 3rd move. Buddha moves mountains and rivers. At this moment, his whole body emitted a golden light, as if covered with a layer of gold. The faint shadow of a Buddha appeared behind him, and the whole ground shook under this vast power. Chapter 571. Bam! It was just a palm, but the huge shockwave of energy sent the group of people flying in an instant. At the same time, the clanging of weapons rang out as they were shattered. Many people screamed in pain, unable to withstand the force. A golden palm print appeared on their chests, and they were sent flying, exploding in the air. With a boom, the group of people turned into beams of white light and were teleported away. There's still one person alive? Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He had killed 11 experts with one palm, but he soon discovered that there was still a man in blue who was not dead. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and he was forced back dozens of steps. There was even a deep crack in the ground from his feet. Even though he looked miserable, he was not dead. This guy is too strong. The man in blue's heart was trembling. Just one palm was enough to destroy their alliance, and even kill them with one palm. They didn't even have the strength to resist. The reason he was able to survive was because he cultivated a king-class defensive qigong, the Great Kasaipa, or a barrier. That was why he could barely survive the palm. But even so, he was still heavily injured. If the other party were to send another palm strike at him, he would die without a burial. No, the competition has just begun. I can't be eliminated here. The man in blue clenched his teeth. He felt a chill in his heart. If he was eliminated now, he would not be satisfied. He had waited for 3 years for this competition, and who knew how much he had suffered. If he was eliminated just because he met a monster, he would lose too unjustly. But if he wanted to escape from this monster, the probability of him leaving alive was less than 10%. You can go. At this time, Xiaoping spoke to the man in blue. Go. Hearing this, the man in blue, who had been trembling all over, was stunned. His eyes widened, as if he couldn't believe what Xiaoping had said. He was letting him go so easily. Yes, I'm letting you go. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. But I have a condition. After you leave, you must spread the word that Yanhuang University is invincible, and that we are gods. If anyone is dissatisfied, feel free to challenge me. I'll be waiting for them at the top of that building. He pointed at a 100-story reinforced concrete building in front of him. What? Hearing this, the blue-clothed man was completely dumbfounded. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was looking at a lunatic. This was the preliminaries, and the competition had just begun. How dare he be so arrogant, choosing a place to fight against experts from all over? Just how much did he look down on people to dare to say such big words? After all, even a peak martial master would not have a good ending if he was surrounded by 10, 100, or even 1,000 people. He might even be killed on the spot. The normal way was to hide and wait for the number of martial artists to decrease, then fight with others. This was the best way, and it could also reduce the consumption of one's body, so as not to fail miserably. However, this brat didn't even try to escape. Instead, he openly appeared in a place and waited for others to challenge him. He really didn't put the other martial artists in his eyes. Clearly, this fellow believed that even if the other martial artists joined forces, no matter how many there were, he had absolute confidence in defeating them. Otherwise, how would he dare to do this? He was simply looking down on the heroes of the world. Why aren't you saying anything? Do you want to die? Xiaoping squinted his eyes. Hearing this, the blue-clothed man immediately shivered and quickly said, No, I know. I will definitely spread your story so that the world will admire you. He didn't care if this brat was absolutely confident or arrogant. In any case, he couldn't be eliminated so quickly. Get lost. Remember, my name is Xiaoping. Let the trash from the other schools come here to die. I will wait for them there. Xiaoping waved his hand with a domineering expression, telling the blue-clothed man to get lost. Whoosh! As soon as Xiaoping finished speaking, the blue-clothed man turned into a flash of lightning and instantly fled. He was very afraid that Xiaoping would change his mind and eliminate him. Xiaoping ignored him and walked toward a nearby building. However, this scene was also noticed by many spectators in the cloud world, and they immediately erupted. Too arrogant. This brat is from Yanhuang University, and he dares to insult our Divine God University and Ares College, saying that we are crazy. Who gave him such courage? Some student from Divine God University saw this scene and were immediately seething with anger. Originally, Divine God University, Ares College, and the other schools were competitors with Yanhuang University, and their relationship was not good. Now that this brat said this, they were even more furious, like a kitten whose tail had been stepped on. That guy also said that our Black-White College plays Go. A group of Black-White College students bared their teeth, wanting to immediately rush out and beat this brat up. Their black-white college was also one of the few martial arts schools in the cloud world. How could they specialize and go? That Starred is so arrogant. If he meets an expert from our Ares college, he will be beaten to a pulp in a few moves. The students from Ares College were indignant. Not only that Starred also said that other than Yenhuan University, all other schools are trash and not worth mentioning. How dare he say such words? He is too arrogant. So what if he got into Yenhuan University? The students from other universities are also very hardworking. They're not trash. This is too much. This is a slap in our faces. He actually said that people who graduated from high school are illiterate. I will teach him a lesson. That Starred can't even pass the language test. Does he not know what illiterate means? Let that Starred go back and look it up in the dictionary. Speaking nonsense the moment he opens his mouth. Are all the students from Yenhuan University like this? How can they look down on others? Hurry up and check 18 generations of his ancestors. See what right he has to say such words. This kind of person is either the second generation of a rich family or the second generation of a government official. He definitely has a background of corruption and bribery. Arrest his father and investigate all his relatives. I guarantee that no fish has escaped the net. Don't let me see him on the streets. Otherwise, every time I see him, I will beat him up. I will not show any mercy. Many people in the audience were angered by Xia Ping's words. Some of them graduated from key universities, some from third-rate universities, and some from high school. This group of people made up the majority, but Xia Ping's words were like a cannon on a map, scolding all of them. If this brat only spoke with his mouth, it would not be a big deal. At most, he would be a brainless person. Chapter 572. It's not just this kid. Everyone who graduated from Yenhuan University is like this. Isn't that so? These talented students are all so arrogant. They're so infuriating. Last time I had a gathering with some Yenhuan University graduates, these bastards asked me which school I graduated from as soon as we met. When they heard that I graduated from Ocean University, they showed a look of disdain as if I was some scum. It's so infuriating. Previously, my fiancé ran away with a fatty from Yenhuan University. They are such shameless people who specialize in poaching other people's women and snatching other people's wives. Bastards stealing other people's fiancés. Are they still human? In the eyes of these people, losers like us who can't get into a key university are not human at all. Snakes and rats are in cahoots. These Yenhuan University students are simply rotten on the inside. Don't think that having a good aptitude for martial arts is amazing. If your character is bad, sooner or later, you will become a traitor. The greater the ability, the greater the harm. A group of people who had accumulated resentment for Yenhuan University for a long time cursed. Some people took advantage of the situation and maliciously spread rumors. Some students from Yenhuan University tried to explain that they were not this kind of people. They were usually more low-key, modest, and polite. They had never been as arrogant and condescending as Xia Ping. That kid was a weirdo. Even in Yenhuan University, this guy was hated by everyone, and everyone wanted to beat him up. However, how could these people believe the words of these Yenhuan University students? They thought that they were simply a nest of snakes and rats. As soon as they opened their mouths, they were scolded and cursed. Some posts were chased and cursed for dozens of pages, and even their ancestors came out. The faces of those Yenhuan University students turned green. They felt that they had suffered an undeserved disaster, but there was nothing they could do. They were implicated by that bastard Xia Ping. At this time, the people of Pingtian's sect jumped out. How could they tolerate these guys slandering their boss? First, Feng Hetong opened fire and shouted, "What are you illiterates shouting for? You losers of life, stray dogs, and honest people, it's not your fault that you can't get into Yenhuan University. But if you're still shouting brainlessly here, then there's something wrong with your brains. It's purely a failure of IQ. If you have the time, you might as well study hard and increase your knowledge, develop your poor brain, and cultivate your character. This way, you might even be able to change your destiny. Otherwise, all of you can only carry bricks for the rest of your lives, collect relief funds, and be the parasites of society, understand? He fired his cannons at the group of people, mocking them with disdain. That's right, that's right. A bunch of people who are so poor that they can only eat instant noodles every day. So what if I scold you? Tell me, apart from this, what else do you have? Now that my big brother has given you a sense of existence, you should be deeply grateful. No matter how bad our big brother is, he's still an elite student and someone who can participate in the genius battle. What about you losers? Can you even compare to a single strand of hair on our big brother's leg? You haven't even eaten your fill yet, and you're already criticizing billionaires here. If you have the time, why don't you go carry a few more bricks and improve your lives? That's the reality. If you're illiterate, you have to admit it. My big brother is telling the truth, but you guys aren't happy. That's right, my big brother is such an honest person. He won't lie. If you're not convinced, come to Yenwang University and beat me up if you have the guts. I'm right here, but I'm afraid you can't even afford the ticket. If you can't afford it, I can help you. It's an interest-free loan. A group of people from Pingtian sect shouted. They were very disdainful of the group of people on the internet. They thought that these people were just losers on the internet who came here to scold others and seek a sense of existence. These people thought that by mocking celebrities, they could raise their status and improve their status. Little did they know that they were just a pile of sh*t in the real world. They couldn't even afford instant noodles. People like them still wanted to criticize their big brother. It was simply a joke. They didn't even know their own worth. Seeing these replies, the entire internet immediately exploded. Their faces turned red, and they clenched their fists. This group of bastards from Yenwang University was too arrogant. What did they mean by saying that they had no value other than being scolded? Was there anyone who looked down on others like that? They even said that they were losers, honest people, and social vermin who could only receive social relief and go carry a few bricks when they had time. That way, they could get a few more chicken legs and improve their lives. How much did these bastards from Yenwang University look down on people? Even if they had to endure sh*t and piss, they couldn't tolerate this. F***ck, a group of Yenwang University lackeys came out. They're all putting on airs. I'm so poor that I have to eat instant noodles every day. Eat my ass. When I had an annual income of over 100 million, you guys were still sperm. Don't think that you're great just because you're from Yenwang University. My company only hired a dozen graduates from Yenwang University to be gatekeepers. You guys can only be gatekeepers after graduation, understand? You bunch of students are all arrogant but incompetent. If you really go out to train and kill monsters, you'll just be cannon fodder. Just you wait. When I get my salary on the 15th, I'll immediately get someone to beat you up. Don't run after school if you have the guts. A group of people clamored. They were so angry that their faces turned green. They wanted nothing more than to rush over and beat up the group of Yenwang University students through the screen. Did they think that they could look down on others just because they graduated from a prestigious university? They were too despicable. When Feng Hetong and the others saw these words, how could they tolerate it? They continued to scold them. A war broke out between the two sides. From Tieba to the forum, tens of thousands of posts were posted, carrying out personal attacks, trying to scold the other party until they couldn't take care of themselves. The atmosphere was very heated. When the other students of Yenwang University saw this, they realized that the flames of war had spread to them. Many people went online to attack them for no reason, cursing their ancestors, saying that all the students of Yenwang University were traitors and lackeys, and that they were all people who committed crimes. They gritted their teeth. This was purely a disaster for them. Even if they wanted to explain that they had nothing to do with the group of sh*t*sters from Yenwang University, no one believed them at all. This bastard is the best. His scoundrel friends are also the same. All of them are shameless to the extreme. When Su Ji and the other girl saw this scene, they were also very speechless. This bastard's ability to cause trouble was too strong. Yenwang University had 1,000 years of reputation and had always been a school of virtue and prestige. It was unknown how many people admired it. It should have been a cornerstone that could not be shaken. Chapter 573. At this moment, on the top floor of a 100-story building, Xiaoping was standing there, unaware of what was happening in the outside world. He just stood there, circulating the qigong in his body, feeling the boundless true energy and comprehending the supreme mysteries of qigong. With his body as the center, he immediately condensed an energy field. His mental energy spread out, forming a circle like a domain, and he could feel the surrounding air currents. At this moment, Xiaoping raised his head and felt a strange fluctuation in the air. He immediately saw 2 or 3 figures leaping over from the top floor of a tall building in the distance, like cannonballs. With a boom, the 3 figures fell from the sky, landing tens of meters away from Xiaoping. Immediately, 2 or 3 deep pits appeared in the ground, and more than 10 cracks spread out, making a cracking sound. When the smoke dissipated, 3 young men in tight clothes, holding golden broadswords, appeared in front of Xiaoping. Their bodies emitted a violent aura, crushing towards Xiaoping viciously, displaying the cultivation of the 8th layer of martial master. Xiaoping squinted his eyes. He could also feel the tyrannical strength of these 3 people. Look, it's the 3 Lin brothers of Aries College. In the live broadcast room, people immediately recognized the true identity of the 3 men holding golden broadswords. I didn't expect the famous 3 Lin brothers to appear. Lin Shi, Lin Hu, and Lin Bao are known as the 3 heroes of the Lin family. 3 years ago, they joined forces to kill the 7 scourges of the desert, killing hundreds of bandits along the way. Blood flowed like a river, and the bandits' lair was destroyed. They were a cruel mess. The 7 scourges of the desert are cruel and domineering for decades, killing people like flies. All of them are high-level martial masters, and they are vicious and cunning. No one has ever been able to kill them, but now they were slaughtered by the 3 Lin brothers. You can imagine how terrifying they are. They are proficient in the Lin family's 13 deadly blades. Each blade is fatal and incomparably fast. The 7 scourges of the desert did not understand this, and were beheaded with 1 blade, unable to escape. This kid is dead for sure. He provoked the 3 Lin brothers. There is no reason for him to not die. Many of the spectators were extremely excited. Some of them knew about the 3 Lin brothers and knew that they were extremely powerful. They were definitely not to be trifled with. Some of the Aries College students were even more excited. They were eager to see the 3 Lin brothers get rid of this arrogant student from Yanhuang University. They wanted to see if he would still dare to be so arrogant in the future and look down on the heroes of the world. You're Xiaoping from Yanhuang University? You're so young, but you sure have guts. The person who spoke was Lin Bao. His eyes were incomparably arrogant as he looked at Xiaoping. Just now, you were the one who got people to spread the news that you're invincible in the world and want to fight against the heroes in this building. You're only at the 6th level of the martial master realm, yet you dare to boast so shamelessly. Didn't your teacher teach you to be humble and low-key? His tone was filled with disdain. You're just a little brat, yet you dare to fight against the world alone. Have you abstained from sex? Lin Shi was also sneering. There are many people in this world who are stronger than you. Do you think a little kid like you could be so arrogant? Do you believe that I will chop off your head with a single slash? You won't be able to cry even if you want to. He did not put Xiaoping in his eyes at all. Cut the bullshit. Lin Hu stared at Xiaoping. I can give you a chance now. Immediately kowtow and apologize in front of us. Say that Yanhuang University is not as good as Aries College. If not only will you be eliminated today, you will also suffer a fate worse than death. He clenched his fists. He was incomparably ferocious, and his tone had a hint of ridicule. These words were not a joke. Even if the entire arena was monitored by the system, once it was determined that the contestant might encounter a fatal injury, he would be quickly taken away and judged to have failed. But he could control the strength of his attacks, so that Xiaoping would not receive fatal injuries. This way, the system would not be able to judge him as a failure, nor would it transfer him away from the arena. This way, They could completely torture this brat ruthlessly until he broke down. Kowtow and apologize? Why don't you go and die? With a boom, the other party had just finished speaking when Xia Ping stomped on the ground with one foot. In an instant, a huge, deep pit was formed. Both feet produced a strong impact, and his entire body flew out like a cannonball. He suddenly punched out, like a ferocious tiger's attack, towards Lin Hu, who was the closest. What? Lin Hu was instantly shocked. He felt that all the qi in his body had been locked, as if he was being stared at by a ferocious tiger, and there was no way to escape. Even this momentum, like a mountain pressing down on him, made him unable to breathe. Bang! This punch landed solidly on his chest, and the terrifying force crashed like a flood, sending Lin Hu's body flying out. The fist force shook thousands of times. With a poof, Lin Hu's body flew out, letting out a shrill scream. He immediately turned into a white light and instantly teleported away from the scene. Lin Hu eliminated. No. Seeing this situation, both Lin Bao and Lin Shi were stunned, and their eyes were bloodshot. The three brothers were of the same breath and branch, advancing and retreating together. They were also very lucky to be in the same arena in this qualifier. Originally, they had planned to break through the qualifier together and obtain the qualification to enter the celestial demon battlefield. But now Lin, who was crippled by a punch, and directly eliminated. One could imagine how angry they were now, and they even had the thought of killing Xia Ping. Whoosh whoosh. The two of them roared, and with a clang, a cold light appeared. In an instant, they pulled out their broadswords and slashed at Xia Ping. Lin family's fatal 13 swords. Suddenly, in midair, 13 beams of light appeared, each containing a fatal killing intent, and were extremely fast. 3 years ago, the 7 devils of the desert had been beheaded in this way, and they did not even know how they died. Now that 3 years had passed, the strength of the two of them was countless times more terrifying, and they had advanced to the 8th heaven of the martial master realm. With such a slash, they broke through the sound barrier, and the ground was torn apart by the wind of the blade. Even now, this attack was filled with hatred, and it was even more terrifying than the previous attack. It was almost their peak attack. Not my ass. How dare the mere trash of Ares College act so arrogantly in front of me? Who gave you the guts to do so? Die. Xia Ping slapped out again. King-level, peerless martial technique, clapless palm. As he slapped out, layers of palm prints appeared, like the horns of an antelope, untraceable. In the void, there seemed to be the faint roar of a giant dragon, fierce and unparalleled, sweeping up the wind. Even at a distance of more than 100 meters, the power of this palm could shatter mountains and break rivers. Boom! When the 13 beams of light came into contact with this palm power, they were immediately smashed into pieces. The air passed through, constantly vibrating, indestructible, and instantly slapped Lin Shi and Lin Bao. How is this possible? Chapter 574. Bang! The air exploded, and the long sabers in the hands of Lin Bao and Lin Shi were instantly shattered into a pile of broken iron. They fell to the ground with a few clangs, creating a pit. The two of them were swept by this unparalleled force, and their whole bodies flew out like straws, smashing into the wall of a building opposite. With a bang, 2 huge, deep pits appeared in the opposite building. Cracks spread out like spider webs, and the glass made crackling sounds. Damn it! Lin Bao and Lin Shi were going crazy. Their eyes were wide open, and they could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Intense pain spread throughout their bodies, as if every cell in their bodies was being bitten by ants. They circulated the spiritual ether in their bodies, wanting to stand up and fight back. But before they could do anything, their bodies quickly turned into white light, and they were instantly expelled from the place. Obviously, the two of them were disqualified from the competition by the system and eliminated. In fact, if not for the protection of the system, they would have been smashed into pieces just now. Seeing this scene, the audience watching the live broadcast were all dumbfounded. They stared with their eyes wide open, as if they could not believe that the three Lin brothers had been defeated just like that. Especially the students of Ares College. They all looked as if they had lost their parents. One had to know that the three Lin brothers were famous experts in Ares College, and they were considered to have a chance of entering the top 100. But now, they were killed by this kid in a few palms and eliminated. The gap between them was just too big. How could there be such a big gap? He actually beat the three Lin brothers to the point where they could not fight back. This kid is only a level 6 martial master. How could he defeat a level 8 martial master? That kind of martial arts technique is too terrifying. It is unparalleled and indestructible, and the strong wind that it erupts can crush titanium alloy into a pile of scrap iron. Even if the three Lin brothers wanted to block it, they would not be able to block it. It is pure bullying. That palm technique is unconstrained and unrestrained, but it also contains the strongest and most ferocious force. Even the dragon subduing palm is nothing more than this. This is definitely not an ordinary martial arts technique, and his spiritual ether is astonishingly strong. What level of qigong is he cultivating? Everyone was dumbfounded. They were all shocked by the martial arts skills that Xia Ping had displayed. It was beyond their imagination. Even some martial arts masters were speechless. How could these people know that Xia Ping was a 6-layer martial master on the surface, but he cultivated the pure yang immortal art? The density of his true essence was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. He also possessed the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell and had refined countless cells of the Golden Crow of Hell. He was as strong as a young divine beast. How could an ordinary LV6 martial master compare to him? In terms of pure strength, even an ordinary 9th heaven martial master was only SOSO. Not to mention the fact that he had executed a Peerless King grade martial skill, completely unleashing his full strength. With just a wave of his hand, he had beaten the three Lin brothers like dead dogs, instantly eliminating them from the competition. At this time, Xia Ping felt the true essence in his body shake. After the fierce battle, the medicinal efficacy within his body had been refined a bit, and a massive amount of true essence immediately gushed out from the depths of his dantian. Bang! Suddenly, a meridian was instantly broken. The true essence in his body increased greatly. It flowed between his meridians like a river, constantly vibrating and cleansing his muscles and bones. Up until now, he had broken through a total of 7 meridians. 5 more meridians, and he would be able to advance to the LV7 Martial Master Realm. At this time, before Xia Ping could celebrate for long, a terrifying pressure suddenly came from afar. A huge object fell from the sky like a meteorite. He looked up and was shocked to see a huge man who was 3 meters tall, leaping over from a building in the distance. He was carrying a huge black hammer that looked extremely heavy. Yinhuang University's Xia Ping actually killed the 3 Lin brothers. You have some ability, but in front of me, Heavy Hammer Li Hu, you are just trash. Your points belong to me now. The huge man laughed loudly. His eyes revealed a trace of ferocity, and his body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. The huge black hammer that weighed thousands of kilograms was as light as a goose feather in his hand. With a bang, the huge black hammer fell from the sky and smashed towards Xia Ping. This hammer was like a small black mountain crushing down. The surrounding air was quickly pushed away, forming a vacuum. It had clearly not reached the ground. However, the entire ground was shaken by the strong wind, and hundreds of cracks appeared. The entire top floor of the building seemed to be unable to withstand this force and creaked. Xia Ping also felt this terrifying qi strength, as if his body had been increased by 10 times the gravity, as if a small mountain was crushing on his shoulders. If it was an ordinary martial artist, just this qi strength alone would make them unable to move. Expert. This Heavy Hammer Li Hu was definitely an incredible expert. He had already reached the peak of the LV8 Martial Master Realm, and was several times more terrifying than the 3 Lin brothers. Just with this kind of innate divine strength, even an ordinary LV9 Martial Master Realm expert would be beaten to death by his hammer. Immovable Buddha palm, fourth style. Buddha carries the pagoda. At this moment, Xiaoping circulated the qigong in his body, and the force of his body burst out. He took a step forward, and the true essence on his body vibrated, emitting a large amount of golden light. He stretched out his hand. This was simply like a Buddha attacking, holding a heavy pagoda in his hand. The void trembled, and in an instant, 108,000 mountains were lifted up, containing boundless power. Bang! The force of the heavy hammer collided with the power of the Buddha. It was like a comet hitting the earth, and a terrifying force erupted. The force of the collision swept in all directions, affecting a radius of 2 to 3 kilometers. The glass of the building was immediately shattered, and even when the force of the collision swept past, large holes were formed. A building in the distance was even cut in half by the force of the wind, as if it had been cut by a sword, falling from the sky. When Xiaoping's feet landed on the ground, a huge crater was blasted out. Cracks spread out like a spider web, and the gravel cracked and shattered into powder. However, this unparalleled hammer strike was still blocked by Xiaoping. How is this possible? You can actually block my mountain-splitting hammer and not even spit out blood? Could it be that your strength is comparable to mine? The huge man, Li Hu, stared with his eyes wide open. Ever since he was born, he had terrifying strength. At the age of 7, he could carry a cauldron, and at the age of 10, he could tear tigers and leopards apart. Now his strength was even more terrifying, like a dragon. When a hammer came down, no one could block it. If it was light, they would be seriously injured, and if it was heavy, they would be turned into a pile of meat paste. With this strength, he was invincible. But now, this was only the preliminaries, and there was actually someone who could block his hammer, and even come out unscathed. Chapter 575. You must be joking. Seeing this scene, a student from Tianjin University couldn't help but shout, Li Hu has the bloodline of the mighty Tiger King. His strength alone is enough to fight against the Elephant Clan. Even a small mountain can be destroyed by one hammer. In Tianjin University, he is simply a giant tower that can't be surpassed. This kid can actually block Li Hu's hammer and come out unscathed. He couldn't believe his eyes. The other audience members were also dumbfounded. They knew how terrifying that hammer was. The power of that hammer could even flatten a small mountain. But now, Xiaoping had blocked it with his bare hands. This was a little scary. Didn't it mean that this kid could fight against Li Hu in terms of strength? But how could these people know that Xiaoping's current strength was terrifying? After fusing with the golden crow of Hell's bloodline, he was simply like a young divine beast. How could a mere Li Hu be his opponent? If he waited until he fused with all of his bloodlines, he would probably turn Li Hu into ashes with a single breath. Damn, I don't believe that you can block a few more of my hammers. Li Hu was completely enraged by Xiaoping's move. His ferocious nature was aroused. His entire body emitted a ruthless aura. He clenched the giant hammer tightly, his veins popping out and his muscles bulging. Mountain-splitting hammer profound art. One hammer to crush a mountain. Boom! At this instant, the giant Li Hu leaped up and slammed his gigantic black hammer down from the sky, causing the air to explode. The terrifying pressure of the hammer seemed to be able to crush a small mountain into smithereens with just the pressure of the hammer alone. The power of this hammer was extremely terrifying. It seemed that he had used up all of his strength. The mighty Tiger King's bloodline was completely activated. Indistinctly, a ferocious tiger appeared behind him, roaring at the sky. The surrounding audience couldn't imagine what would happen if they were to receive this hammer. Perhaps just the pressure alone would be enough to crush them into meat paste. How many hammers? You want to compete with me in strength? Do you know that you're overestimating yourself? Xiaoping immediately laughed. He operated the qigong in his body, and his aura suddenly rose. Myriad Beast Fist, 7th Style, Giant Elephant Axe. He took a step forward. His entire body was like an ancient giant elephant. At this moment, the surrounding air seemed to boil and be pushed away. With his body as the center, there seemed to be a vacuum zone with a diameter of 3 meters. His right hand turned into an elephant's trunk, his left hand turned into an elephant's tail, and his body turned into a giant elephant's trunk. His feet sounded like an elephant's trumpet as he roared at the sky, causing the ground to crack inch by inch. Dong! Immediately, a terrifyingly huge axe materialized. It was as if Pangu had split the heavens and the earth apart. With a swing of the axe, even the heavens and the earth would be sliced in half. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, the giant axe and the black hammer collided. It was a pure collision of strength against strength. It was like a primordial mammoth colliding with a tiger king, and an earth-shattering sound erupted. What? Li Hu was immediately taken aback. He felt an unprecedented force. His opponent was like a young divine beast, and his strength was transmitted through the giant hammer inch by inch. It was just a slight collision, but he felt the web between his thumb and forefinger go numb. Even the giant hammer had a slight crack. Impossible. This brat's strength is even more terrifying than mine. Just who is he? Li Hu was shocked. He felt that his strength was actually at a disadvantage, as if he was about to be crushed to death by a giant elephant. Damn it. Not good. Li Hu's expression changed drastically. He felt that after Xiaoping's right fist blasted toward him, Xiaoping's left fist stabbed toward his chest. This was a fatal killing intent. It was like a venomous snake secretly peeping at his life. The problem was that he had already exhausted all his strength to use this hammer. Now that he had used up all his strength, how could he resist this brat's attack? It was over. Li Hu's face turned green. He had originally thought that this brat was just a human-shaped score that could be easily smashed to death with 2 strikes of the hammer. Who would have thought that he would kick an iron plate this time? Swoosh! At this moment, from 2 to 3 kilometers away, a cold light flashed, carrying a fatal aura. It broke through the sound barrier and attacked towards Xiaoping's heart. Who is it? Xiaoping's hair stood on end. He clearly saw a dagger appear in midair. It was a hidden weapon. Someone was secretly attacking him from 3 kilometers away. The opponent clearly wanted to take advantage of the gap in the battle to kill him completely and reap the benefits. Kun Peng step. At this crucial moment, Xiaoping immediately gave up on killing Li Hu. He activated the Qigong in his body, and a pair of Kun Peng wings appeared on his back. He manipulated the airflow at will. With a swoosh, he gently stepped on the ground and produced a terrifying propulsion. Like a jet plane, he instantly moved more than 10 meters away from his original position. Dong! A cold light penetrated through and arrived at Xiaoping's original position. In an instant, it pierced through a hard concrete wall, and its strength did not seem to weaken at all. The dagger pierced through 13 buildings in a row before finally stopping and stabbing into the wall. Huang family flying dagger. That's the famous Huang family flying dagger. In a live broadcast room, someone immediately shouted as he recognized this hidden weapon technique. This is the famous hidden weapon family in the Cloud Realm, the Huang family. Only they know the ultimate assassination martial art. Using Qi to control the dagger, using the spirit to control the Qi. It's invincible. Some people say that being targeted by the Huang family is like being targeted by the Grim Reaper. The Huang family flying dagger can be said to be unique. It's said that its rank has already reached the king level upper grade. It's only a step away from the king level upper grade. It's simply the Huang family secret. This kid is targeted by the Huang family. He's dead meat. Isn't that right? This group of Huang family members are extremely treacherous. They can assassinate powerful enemies from several kilometers away. Only they can kill people. Who can kill them? The problem is their close combat skills are not that good. So what if they are not that good? No one can get within 100 meters of them. Once they find a safe enough distance, they can kill any enemy, no matter who they are. Countless people in the audience exclaimed. They had heard of the reputation of the Huang family flying dagger. In the numerous wars between the human race and the demon race, this flying dagger had repeatedly performed miraculous deeds. With a single flying dagger, even a monster king could be killed. Ha ha! Kid, you have angered everyone. With the Huang family eyeing you like a tiger watching its prey. And with me, Li Hu, it's hard for you to not die this time. Li Hu laughed heartily. He was in an extremely good mood. Originally, he thought that he would be killed by Xiaoping with a single punch. He had already mentally prepared himself, but who would have thought that someone would come out of nowhere and throw a flying dagger at him? It was so stunning that it saved his life and forced him to retreat again and again. Chapter 576. Die for me. Li Hu smiled ferociously and waved the giant hammer. Layers of hammer shadows appeared in the void. Each hammer contained the power of thousands of jin. Once hit, ordinary martial artists would immediately turn into a ball of meat sauce. Even through the screen, the audience felt the suffocating pressure, as if they would die if they were hit by a hammer, and they could not resist it at all. Xiaoping wanted to make a move and punch the giant hammer away. But at this moment, 5 or 6 cold lights flew in the distance, each of them extremely fast, breaking through the sound barrier. Even its trajectory was winding, like a spirit snake, aiming at every vital part of him, as if as long as he dared to attack Li Hu, he would immediately be pierced through the heart. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flickered. He used the Kuan Peng step. His feet created a phantom. He moved in this area and dodged these flying knives and hidden weapons in an instant. With a few bangs, these flying knives pierced through several buildings in succession. Rubble splashed everywhere, showing terrifying destructive power. It is estimated that even if someone is wearing steel armor, they will be pierced by this flying knife. Good opportunity. Seeing this scene, Li Hu's eyes revealed a trace of a cold light. He was an expert who had experienced hundreds of battles. It was unknown how many battles he had experienced, so he instantly caught the flaw that Xiaoping had revealed when he dodged. Boom! His hammer smashed over, like a small mountain crushing down, smashing into Xiaoping's body. The surrounding air exploded, crackling. Xiaoping punched out and collided with the black giant hammer. The two flood-like forces collided with each other and immediately blasted a big hole in the roof, sending rubble everywhere. Both of them retreated a dozen steps because of the force of the collision, and their blood boiled. Xiao, however, the Huang family disciple who secretly attacked, was unforgiving. A flying knife shot over like a poisonous snake, accurately seized a gap, and fiercely smashed into Xiaoping's body. Dark North Body Protection Art. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold light. He operated the qigong in his body and suddenly condensed it into a Tai Chi circle, covering a meter around his body, forming an air shield. With a bang, this flying knife attacked, containing incomparable penetrating power, fiercely blasted on the air shield, constantly rotating, frantically destroying the power of the air shield. Damn it! Xiaoping's feet retreated again and again as he continuously deflected the destructive power and ferocious force of the flying daggers. He only stopped after leaving a mark that was dozens of meters long on the ground. Even if the flying knife did not pierce the defense of Dark North's body protection technique, the shock still made his blood boil, and there was a taste of blood clots in his internal organs. Too strong. The cooperation between Li Hu and the Huang family's disciples is simply a match made in heaven. It's perfect. One is the main attacker, and his strength is invincible. The other is a support assassin looking for gaps. If this kid is careless, he will be killed instantly. He doesn't even have the strength to fight back. As the saying goes, a prolonged defense is bound to be lost. Right now, he can still resist, but after a few dozen more moves, Xiaoping's Jun Yuan will weaken, and his blood will be exhausted. At that time, he will definitely die. How do we block it? There's no way to block it. One is born with divine strength. The other is unparalleled in assassination. Both of them are geniuses. When the two of them join forces, it's not as simple as 1 + 1. It's simply a geometric effect. I estimate that even 2 or 3 experts at the 9th level of Martial Master won't be able to defeat the two of them. The surrounding audience were all amazed. They had seen a battle between top geniuses. It was not something that ordinary warriors could compare to. Every move contained fatal killing intent. If Xiaoping was only dealing with one, he still had a chance of winning. But now that he was dealing with 2 at the same time, he was courting death. Haha, let's see how long you can last. Li Hu was unforgiving. He waved the giant hammer in his hand and attacked. He did not intend to give Xia Ping any chance to catch his breath. That person hiding in the distance is too troublesome. I have to kill him. Xia Ping's chest was filled with monstrous killing intent. Originally, he wanted to get rid of Li Hu and then slowly deal with the person who tried to assassinate him with the flying knife. But now, it seemed that the guy was too unscrupulous. It was estimated that the kid thought that he was extremely safe hiding 2 or 3 kilometers away, so he unscrupulously dealt with him. But he had to tell the kid that he was wrong, and he was very wrong. Found him. He operated his left eye, infernal golden crow's eye. A flame seemed to be burning in the depths of his pupil. His dynamic vision increased crazily, and he even had the power to see through any wall. The surrounding scenery kept expanding and zooming in, like a three-dimensional image. In just a second, he found a short man in black clothes hiding in a building 3 kilometers away. The man was staring at him like a tiger watching its prey. He seemed to be very proud of himself, as if victory was already in his grasp. Boom! Xia Ping grabbed with his big hand. The true ether in his body vibrated, and a thick power surged from the depths of his blood. Every cell in his body was trembling. Suddenly, he grabbed a mass of air in his hand and compressed it crazily. Slowly, an energy ball the size of a watermelon appeared in his right hand, spinning crazily in his palm. Supreme martial art. Head-piercing 7 arrows art. His mental strength seeped into this ball and fused with it, reaching the realm of human and human as one. This was the 3rd level of the head-piercing 7 arrows art. Even if there were no hidden weapons, he could still operate his true ether and instantly condense it. Swish! At this moment, Xia Ping was like a primordial god. He took a step forward and smashed the watermelon-sized ball in his hand toward the building. Such a ball tore through the air, breaking through 5 times the speed of sound. It only took a moment for it to reach the building. What? Suddenly, the disciple of the Huang family was still looking complacent, staring at Xia Ping, looking for fatal flaws. He thought that he was incomparably safe and could assassinate Xia Ping at any time. But he didn't expect that at this moment, the kid actually formed a ball of air and smashed a mass of energy at him. The speed was so fast that the disciple's nerves couldn't react in time. Moreover, this ball was not an ordinary energy ball. It condensed true ether and air together and compressed them crazily. Countless molecules collided violently. This was simply a nuclear bomb. Once it exploded, it would be earth-shattering. Run! This thought immediately appeared in the mind of the disciple of the Huang family. His body acted as if it was instinct, and he jumped toward the building. Boom! But it was too late. The ball instantly smashed in front of the building and exploded in an instant, turning the sky and earth upside down. Several floors were blown to pieces. Even the entire building completely collapsed because of the explosion. Like a domino, it collapsed one after another, and large pieces of reinforced concrete fell to the ground. Chapter 577. Bang, bang, bang. The descendant of the Huang family was sent flying and smashed into the cement road. Because of the extremely strong shock wave of the explosion, he was sent skidding across the ground for hundreds of meters. Even his skin was scratched, and he was covered in blood. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Xia Ping. The disciples of the Huang clan roared towards the sky, incomparably resentful. Their eyes were filled with resentment. When had the people of the Huang clan ever been so miserable? It had always been them hiding in the shadows, plotting against their enemies everywhere. But now he was still hit by the kid's attack from 3 kilometers away. He was blown up like a dead dog, and even his internal organs were severely injured. To the Huang family, this was a great humiliation. He swore that he would definitely take revenge and humiliate this kid. Only then would he be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Hatred? It's just the sorrowful cry of a stray dog. But do you think you can still take revenge? You won't have a chance. Xia Ping could naturally hear the roar of grief and indignation, as well as the anger contained in it. But he didn't care at all, because he had long since decided to kill this kid. After plotting against him, he still wanted to stay. That was simply a dream. Boom! In that instant, Xia Ping made a grabbing motion with his hand. The surrounding air vibrated and condensed. In an instant, a hellish spear appeared in his right hand, emitting a terrifying aura of hell. The spear was engraved with dense and mysterious runes, as if it was burning with the flames of hell. Anyone who saw this spear would feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. It was as if this was a weapon used by demons from hell. Who knew how many people had died and how much blood had been sucked from it? Stop! Li Hu also saw this scene. As a martial artist, his instincts immediately sensed the danger of this move of Xia Ping's. It could completely threaten the life of the descendant of the Huang family. If the descendant of the Huang family was killed by Xia Ping and eliminated, he would be the only one left. He wouldn't be a match for this kid at all, and could only flee in a sorry state. Whoosh! He strode forward like a ferocious tiger, pouncing on Xia Ping. His giant hammer was in the air, trying to block Xia Ping's attack. Stop my ass. Do you think a tramp like you can stop me? Get lost. Xia Ping cursed angrily, and a terrifying aura erupted from all of his pores. Every single one of his hell cells erupted with vast power, and the shadow of a golden crow of hell seemed to appear behind him. He slapped out with his palm, and the huge palm solidified. King Tier superior grade, martial skill, clapless palm. What? When Li Hu saw this scene, his face turned green. That palm seemed to have pierced through the void, ignoring the distance between them. It was silent and without any heat. It just slammed down just like that. However, the power contained in this palm was not something that an ordinary move could compare to. This method had condensed all the power into the palm, not letting any of it leak out. With a dong sound, Li Hu immediately let out a shrill scream. His body was hit by the palm, and he was pushed back repeatedly. In an instant, he was sent flying like a piece of trash. Just like that, his body flew out of the building and smashed through 5 or 6 walls. Finally, he fell on the wall of a building. His body was spread out, and a large amount of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Li Hu, the Huang family disciple in the distance, also saw this scene. His hair stood on end, and he felt as if he was being targeted by an unparalleled beast. Even though he was 2 to 3 kilometers away, he did not feel safe at all. Run! Run! The Huang family disciple was so scared that his face turned green. He used the Huang family's supreme movement technique, Huang family's cloud ladder. His entire body was like a wisp of green smoke, riding on the clouds, and he quickly escaped. As one of the strongest hidden weapon clans in the human race, they naturally knew their strengths and weaknesses. They knew that once they were approached, they would be in danger. Therefore, they obtained a supreme movement technique. Once an enemy approached, they could use their movement technique to constantly pull away from the enemy. This way, they would be invincible, and the Huang family's cloud ladder was such a supreme movement technique. If they used it, it was as if they were free from gravity. They could use the sky as a ladder and move freely with extreme speed. Even a flying bird would not be able to catch up to them. This was the Huang family's special treasure. However, no matter how powerful this movement technique was, how could it compare to the head-nailing 7 arrows technique? Once this technique was cultivated to the extreme, it could practically ignore space. Even if they were tens of thousands of li away, they could still nail the enemy to death. Even if it was only the 3rd level, the head-nailing 7 arrows technique's hidden energy weapons could not be compared to a human speed. Its speed was practically equivalent to a super spaceship. Kill! Xia Ping's eyes were filled with killing intent. He gripped the energy spear tightly and threw it. It was like he was shooting at the sun. He wanted to nail the sun to pieces. Whoosh! The spear flew out at a speed 8 times faster than the speed of sound. It was so fast that the human eye could not follow it. It tore through the air, creating a sharp sound. All the glass within a 5-kilometer radius shattered under this sharp sound. The surrounding martial artists couldn't help but cover their ears and circulate their qigong to protect their lungs. Otherwise, they would be shaken by this sound wave and be completely injured, coughing up blood. Damn it! Faster! Faster! A little faster! The disciple of the Huang family went all out. He gritted his teeth and his face turned red. He madly circulated his qigong. 108,000 pores on his body emitted flames. This was a flame produced by his extreme speed. Right now, he was like an engine that was running too fast. He was almost pushing his speed to the extreme. His body generated air currents around him as he fled into the distance. There is no doubt that even a peak martial master expert would not be able to catch up to him. However, in front of 8 times faster than the speed of sound, his speed was still too slow. He was as slow as a snail. Dong! At this moment, the spear fell from the sky. It arrived in an instant like a meteorite. It carried a terrifying power and ruthlessly bombarded the body of the disciple of the Huang family. No, no, no. The disciple's face turned pale. He felt that his body was no longer under his control. The energy spear pierced through his abdomen without hesitation and injured his internal organs. This powerful force even sent his body flying for 2 kilometers. Finally, his body was ruthlessly nailed to the wall of the building. Blood dripped down and dyed the smooth wall red. With a bang, a huge pit immediately appeared on the wall of the building. Cracks were densely packed and extended everywhere. It seemed that the whole building was about to collapse after such an impact. When the wind blew, it seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Large amounts of rubble rolled down, making a crashing sound. Boom! Chapter 578. Damn it! Seeing that the disciple of the Huang family was killed by a spear, Li Hu's face turned extremely ugly. He knew that his greatest helper was gone. If he continued to stay here, he would probably die. With a bang, he struggled out of the rubble and quickly fled into the distance. Tried to escape. On the 100-story building, Xiaoping saw Li Hu's back as he fled on the street. His eyes flashed with a cold light, and a deep killing intent surged out. He would definitely not let this kid escape. Boom! At this moment, he directly jumped down from the sky. A 100-story building was at least 300 to 400 meters high. Under the effect of gravity, the speed of falling was simply unimaginable. Even if a monster fell, it would be smashed into meat paste. When he saw such a height, he was frightened and did not dare to act rashly. Even when he saw Master Qiushua fall from the sky on the Beast Island, he was shocked and felt that it was an unimaginable power that ordinary people would never be able to reach in their lifetime. But now, Xiaoping was no longer an ordinary person. He had already advanced to the 6th level of the martial master realm. The power of the true essence he controlled was many times stronger than before. Even though he was hundreds of meters high in the sky, he could not make him retreat at all. Whoosh! In an instant, a pair of wings appeared on his back. They constantly flapped and controlled the airflow, instantly slowing down the speed of his body's fall. He could even use the airflow to fly crazily. What? Li Hu was taken aback. He felt a terrifying, killing intent coming from behind him. When he turned around, he saw Xiaoping falling from a height of several hundred meters like a meteor. Xiaoping's aura locked onto Li Hu's aura. Damn it! He gritted his teeth and operated the bloodline in his body. Like a ferocious tiger, he tried to escape, but it was too late. The speed of Xiaoping's fall was too fast. From the top floor to the ground, it only took a few seconds. In midair, he operated the qigong in his body and punched through the air. Boom! This punch was like a flood, destroying everything. The surrounding air trembled crazily, like the roar of 100 beasts. Even wherever the punch went, the air was pushed away, forming a vacuum zone. And now, Li Hu was already seriously injured. Previously, his lungs were severely injured by Xiaoping's palm. Right now, he could not even use 30% of his strength. Dragging such a seriously injured body, how could he withstand this punch? Dong! Li was caught off guard. His chest took the full brunt of the punch, and he was sent flying. A terrifying force invaded his lungs, and he could not help but let out a shrill scream. With a whoosh, he turned into a ray of white light and was instantly teleported out of this space. Li Hu eliminated. Xiaoping also landed on the ground. In an instant, a deep crater with a diameter of tens of meters appeared on the ground. The ground cracked, and a huge gale swept in all directions, causing a huge tremor to spread for several kilometers. However, when this force of impact reached his body, it was quickly neutralized by the muscles all over his body. Layer by layer, it did not harm his body at all. When the spectators in the live streaming channel saw this, all of them were dumbfounded. Some of them were even speechless. It can't be, right? He lost. Even though Li Hu and the Huang family disciples joined hands, they were actually killed on the spot. In the end, they couldn't even escape. Isn't this a little too monstrous? Someone could not help but cry out. One had to know what kind of person Li Hu was, and what kind of person was the Huang family disciple. One was extremely strong, born with divine strength, and had the bloodline of the king tiger. At the age of 10, he could tear tigers and leopards apart with his bare hands. He was extremely ferocious. As for the Huang family disciple, he was born in one of the strongest hidden weapons families. He was proficient in flying knives and hidden weapons. He could kill enemies from a few kilometers away. He could be said to be a hidden weapons master of his generation. Once someone was targeted by him, there was absolutely no reason for him to survive. But now, the two experts joined hands, and they were even at the 8th heaven of martial master realm. But they were actually no match for this kid. They were beaten to death, and they couldn't even escape. This was a little shocking. He's clearly only at the 6th heaven of martial master realm. But he's actually this strong. If this continues, he won't really be able to pass the preliminaries, right? If that's the case, where are we going to put our faces? I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Such an arrogant person can pass the preliminaries. Is there still justice in this world? If this kind of person passes the preliminaries, I'm afraid his nose will rise to the sky. I don't know how arrogant he will be at that time. Maybe he won't even put the kings in his eyes. Many of the spectators were gnashing their teeth. They were all very angry with Xiaoping. They thought that he was nothing more than an arrogant and shameless person who didn't have the strength to pass the preliminaries. But now he had actually defeated two great experts with his own hands. If this were to continue with this kid's strength, it would be a sure thing for him to advance to the qualifiers. But the more it was like this, the more they were unwilling and the more they were unwilling. All of them wanted to see Xiaoping defeated. They wanted to see this kid cry bitterly and look miserable. When Feng Hetong and the others saw this situation, their noses almost rose to the sky. They were incomparably proud and immediately went up to ridicule. So what if you're unwilling? Continue to hold it in. Just a bunch of illiterates. If you want to defeat my big brother, go back and study for a few more years. I said that you're weak and you don't want to admit it. Your pride is very strong. Now, you've all come to challenge us, but you've all been beaten like dogs. Let me ask you, how can these pieces of trash compare to my big brother? I'm not bragging, but even if these pieces of trash come together, they won't be a match for my big brother with one hand. You're exaggerating. How can they compare to my big brother's one finger? No, it should be a leg hair. Just you wait. My big brother might be the champion of this genius battle and step on the heads of you illiterates. When that time comes, you won't even dare to make a sound when I shit or pee. How can you say that it's fragrant? The group of people from the Pingtian sect was proud and in a good mood. They also sighed in their hearts, as expected of their big brother. His martial arts strength was a complete mess. Even in the genius battle, not many people were their big brother's match. He was invincible. It was likely that he would pass the preliminaries. Trash from Yinhuang University, don't be too proud. Li Hu and the others are just ordinary experts. The real top geniuses haven't appeared yet. That's right. When the real monsters come out, this Xiaoping will be a pile of shit. He's only defeated a few ordinary people, but he's already so arrogant. Will he die if he doesn't act so arrogantly? He even bragged that he's the champion of this genius battle. If he really becomes the champion, I'll cut up a big bird on a live broadcast. Yeah, I'll cut him up too. Many of the audience were furious. They wanted to cross the screen and beat up these lackeys of Xiaoping. If it wasn't for these people stirring up trouble here, they wouldn't be so angry.